In the future real world, Youfeng, who has won 5 consecutive World of Dueling Monsters championships, accidentally travels to the original world of Game King. Where exactly does the mysterious card come from? Why is President Haima roaring in the middle of the night? Why did the thick and dark road of Xiaobiao open? Where do many monster elves originate from? Can the future king continue to bring happy smiles to his opponents in this unfamiliar world? Let's watch the Game King journey from scratch. This book respects the original work and strictly follows the chain order of duel masters in the effect of duel cards. Some animation card effects will not change. If the introduction is not available, please move to the main text. Chapter 1. Cards from a Different World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 26xx, Beautiful Country, L City. Ladies and gentlemen, fans of the world's Game King, after 3 months of intense competition, this year's World Cup Game King duel has finally reached this exciting final moment. Standing on the red side is Youfeng, the strongest duel king from China, who has already won the championship of the world-class Game King competition for 4 times. On the other hand, standing opposite him is Youfeng, the strongest dark horse candidate from Sakura country, who has defeated strong opponents from various countries all the way, rising like a rising star, boat crossing Tuado. The game has now reached the final game, and the 2 players' current record is a 2.2 draw. The most crucial game is to determine who will be the final world champion. Judging from the current situation on the field, Youfeng, who only has 50 LP left, is clearly on the brink of crisis. With only 1 hand card left, can he withstand the attack of Zhou Du Tuado and turn the tables to win his 5th consecutive championship in a world-class competition? Let's wait and see together. Due to the advancement of technology, 3-dimensional electronic technology has long been popularized in this era. Therefore, after experiencing a series of fermentation, duel monsters have also entered a new era of electronic technology. The advancement and development of technology have led to the complete rise of the already popular duel monster game, while also sparking a new duel craze worldwide. At the largest electronic duel competition center in L City, hundreds of thousands of gaming enthusiasts gather here to enjoy this tense and exciting offensive and defensive battle. On the largest battle platform in the center of the arena, Youfeng, dressed in black casual attire, lightly tapped a card covered on an electronic instrument with his right index finger and looked at the boat crossing Tuadu on the opposite side with a sly smile. Yo, what's wrong, seaweed head? There's only 1 monster on my field that's visible. Aren't you afraid to attack like this? By the way, I heard you're the new duel king in Sakura country, isn't that your level? Youfeng. You are a villain who only knows how to play in the underworld. You have as much nonsense as your despicable fighting style. Besides, I have a clear advantage with 1700 LP left. With the divine declaration you just used, your life is already like a candle in the wind. Hehe, I already only have 100 LP left. What's not appropriate to exchange 50 LP for your miracle fusion? Looking at the Atra worm with only 1800 attack power on the opposite field, Zhou Du Tuado's psychological state was obviously not as relaxed as it appeared on the surface. A cold sweat slowly slipped from the corner of his forehead. Although my LP is relatively high, there are no monsters on my field. Youfeng has a block card and a 1800 attack Atra bug to bewitch demons on his field. Moreover, this damn bug has the effect of making traps unable to be invalidated and launching red pits from his hand. The reason why he left this card on the field must be to heal my monster in my turn and launch a fatal attack on me. However, the undead bird demon hero I just summoned forcefully replaced his great king flower, and the worm demon without effect and resistance was not enough to fear. As long as I defend first and wait for the next wave of undead bird's resurrection effect, then the winner of the battle will definitely be me. After taking a deep breath, Zhou Du Tuado glanced slightly at the undead bird in the cemetery. I don't know if this guy has a card for the cemetery effect in his hand. But for me now, there is basically no more room for choice. I still have a harmonious envoy in my hand, and it can be said that even if given the opportunity, he still cannot cause harm to me. Looking up at Li Youfeng, who still had a calm expression on his face, Zhou Du Tuado secretly calculated in his heart, my other wild man's attack power is only 1,500 points, and direct combat is not a match for Bug's enchantment. But fortunately, an undead bird demon hero in my cemetery has not been excluded yet. In the next round, even if he has a card that destroys monsters on the field, as long as he can activate the chain, I can still force the damn bug to trade. As long as there is no red pit ineffective effect, then with the effect of the wild man not being affected by trap cards, I will definitely be the final winner. Li Youfeng, I'll bet on the card in your hand. Success or failure depends on this one move. Suddenly made up his mind, a sharp light flashed through the eyes of Zhou Du Tuado. Just at this moment, Zhou Du Tuado seemed to be possessed by the President of Haima in the Game King, and his whole body suddenly emitted a powerful aura. I saw him wave his hand and suddenly burst out shouting loudly, Li Youfeng. Your good luck has come to an end here. I must win the title of Dueling King this time. The highest honor can only belong to us Sakura people. Strong. Invincible. Strong. I hereby declare that I will activate the special effect of the Fate Hero, the Immortal Bird Demon Hero, in the cemetery. At this moment, Li Youfeng shouted with a sly smile before the boat crossing Tuado could finish his sentence. When there is a worm demon present on our field, I can activate the usual trap cards with holes, and empty characters from my hand. Therefore, I activate the usual trap card from my hand, dig my own hole, and use the special effects of the undead bird demon in the invalid cemetery to deal 2,000 damage to my opponent. Nanny! Oh my god! With a burst of electronic sound, Zhou Du Tuado pinched his face with both hands. In a mournful scream, his LP instantly fell from 1700 to 0 o'clock. Why? Why is this happening? Looking at the red and glaring pit in Li Youfeng's hand with an incredulous expression, Zhou Du Tuo's eyeballs were almost protruding. You despicable little person actually hides this kind of card in your hand. Normally, you shouldn't be carrying Insect Charm or Purgatory. You've never used this card in the previous 2 duels, and I don't even think you have this card in your deck. No, can you say that your previous 2 games were all deceiving me for this moment? Answer me. Shameless fraudster. Li Youfeng. Perhaps, I used the improved worm magic deck for 2 consecutive games, and even if I drew it, I didn't activate it. Naturally, there's a reason for me. With a nonchalant expression on his face, Li Youfeng shook his head and picked up the worm demon placed on the game table. After gently kissing the card face, he smiled and snapped his fingers. After all, people always fall into habitual thinking when they are in a tense state. Besides, duels always bring surprises to their opposite friends, and sometimes the victory or defeat is only in a moment's thought. Do you think so? You shameless and despicable person. I'm not willing to accept it. The terrifying aura instantly poured out, and Zhou Du Tuado suddenly felt that his recent performance was like a severe late-stage patient with a secondary illness. A tear of regret couldn't help but slowly fall from the corner of his eye. Alas, this handsome guy fought hard for 3 months and still maintained the unbeaten record of winning 5 consecutive championships in the World-class Game King duel competition. As a result, he only gave a prize of $500,000, which is too stingy. Riding on the plane back to his home country, Li Youfeng wore wide sunglasses and a mask. After slightly glancing at the phone prompt that had just arrived, he put it back into his pocket. He frowned and looked at the blank Game King duel card in his hand with a gloomy expression. What else are you saying? This card appeared out of thin air, so far it can't be printed or displayed. Isn't that funny? It's really like a dark game, a world of duels. How could this imaginary world really exist? Sigh, it seems that the Dueling Alliance is also deliberately making things difficult for me. Forget it, I don't want so much anymore. Anyway, the prize money from the competition is enough for me to spend a long time. Brother, are you Li Youfeng? Just as Li Youfeng was enthusiastically putting the card back into his chest pocket, a seemingly 7 or 8-year-old blonde girl sitting next to him seemed to have noticed his disguise. No, you got the wrong person, I'm not. Li Youfeng answered directly by shaking his head to avoid unnecessary trouble. This voice, this unkempt and frivolous person, you are Li Youfeng himself. Upon hearing Li Youfeng's voice, the little girl became even more convinced of her guess. With stars in her eyes and a look of admiration on her face, she said, Brother Youfeng, they are your loyal fans. Since you participated in the Game King qualifiers in the Asian region, I have watched all of your matches without hesitation, especially your despicable and shameless tactics and the card deck construction with a cute mentality. You have always been a role model for me to learn from. So, hee, just like it. But then again, are you really praising me? How come I feel so bad? Since he was recognized, Li Youfeng shook his head helplessly and decided not to pretend, especially when faced with this little fan who had always admired him. Li Youfeng couldn't continue to disguise himself. Brother Youfeng, can you take a photo with me? Please, I only need one photo. Oh, by the way, could you sign my name on the chest of my skirt? Just write it for my favorite fan Lena. It's best to draw 2 hearts, hee. Ah, okay. Looking at the cute expression on the little girl's face, Li Youfeng couldn't bear to refuse. He sighed slightly in his heart and casually took off his mask and sunglasses. Hee, Brother Youfeng, come closer, eggplant. Yeah. Seeing Li Youfeng leaning her body over, Lena excitedly took out her phone and happily took a photo with Li Youfeng. Brother Youfeng, thank you. I will keep this group photo as my most precious treasure. Next is the signature. Here is my watercolor pen, just write it on my. Don't move. This plane has already been hijacked by us. Those who want to survive should sit still, otherwise don't blame my bullets for not having eyes. Just as Li Youfeng was about to take the watercolor pen, a sudden transformation occurred. 3 burly men wearing masks suddenly rushed out from the other side of the cabin. Due to this sudden shock, Lena trembled all over, even dropping the colored pen in her hand to the ground. Ah, my watercolor pen. Don't move around. Seeing Lena wanting to bend down, Li Youfeng quickly reached out and held her down. These people are not good people, I'm afraid they will really shoot and kill. Lena, don't worry, when we get out of danger, my brother will definitely provide you with a signature. Really? Thank you, Brother Youfeng. Upon hearing Li Youfeng's promise, Lena instinctively huddled in his arms. However, just as she felt fine, one of the masked men dressed as a mercenary took out a photo from his pocket and slowly walked towards Li Youfeng. Hee, I didn't expect the news to be true. It really took no effort to get it. After carefully comparing the photos, the strong man reached out and grabbed Lena. Lena Jikes, the only precious treasure of Charlie Jikes, the largest arms dealer in the beautiful country, come with me. Brother Youfeng. Stop it. Just as the strong man's hand was about to catch Lena, Li Youfeng stood up from his seat and blocked his body in front of Lena. However, in just a moment, Li Youfeng regretted his recent impulse. Kid. Are you very brave? In just the blink of an eye, the strong man suddenly stuffed his pistol into Li Youfeng's mouth. You want to eat lotus seed soup, don't you? Do you really think I haven't killed anyone? Do you look down on me? De Gua. Biao Tsong Dong. Li Youfeng, who was instantly scared out of a cold sweat, almost urinated. Wo. Damn it, talk to me well. After pulling the pistol out of Li Youfeng's mouth, the strong man impatiently pressed it against his forehead. If I can't be satisfied, you can report to God. Boss. This kid looks like he's from China. Just as Li Youfeng was stuttering and unable to speak, another robber approached. I heard that everyone in China seems to know Kung Fu, and this country is also known internationally as a difficult place to get into trouble. Why don't we just stop causing trouble? Yes, yes. Yes, I am indeed from China. If you don't believe me, you can see my passport. The words of another robber made Li Youfeng feel as if he had been granted amnesty. He quickly nodded like pounding garlic, afraid that the big shot might change his mind. Tisk. Troubled kid, get out of my way. Kicking Li Youfeng down in the aisle of the cabin, the leader of the robber once again extended his hand to Lena, who was trembling. However, just as his hand was about to catch Lena, there was suddenly an explosion. Bang bang. With a few gunshots, two robbers who were also in the cabin fell to the ground, and even the leader of the robbers next to Li Youfeng couldn't react enough, resulting in a bullet in the gun holder's hand. Don't move. We are federal agents, Joseph. Your plan has failed. If you want to survive, surrender quickly. Damn it, how could I possibly surrender? Suppressing the pain in his right wrist, the robber leader named Joseph reached out with his left hand and pulled out a sharp military knife from his waist. Since I can't live, I'll let Charlie, the scumbag who resells weapons, taste the feeling of losing his family too. Haha. Ignoring the federal agent behind him, Joseph raised his hand and stabbed Lena fiercely in the seat. However, at this critical moment, a figure suddenly stood in front of Lena again. Puzzy. As the sound of the sharp blade piercing into the flesh sounded, the sharp military knife plunged directly into Li Youfeng's heart. With a few gunshots, Joseph was shot dead by federal agents with an incredible look on his face and slowly fell into a pool of blood. Pooh. Nima as promised 100% empty-handed. Where are you taking the blade? Sure enough, novels are all lies. Unable to resist, Li Youfeng spewed out a mouthful of blood. With a slight smile on his lips, he slowly fell backwards. Just before his consciousness dissipated, what caught his eye were Lena's tearful face and a heart-wrenching scream. What a special thing, I finally got this fan. How could you possibly get rid of me? I just don't know if my hairstyle is messy. Sigh, it's really unlucky. If I had a next life, I wouldn't be so brave anymore. After Li Youfeng completely lost consciousness, no one noticed that the nameless card he had placed in his chest pocket, after being stained with his blood, suddenly emitted bursts of golden light. Chapter 2. Crossing or Rebirth. Game King's World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sun slowly rises from the horizon, and the golden afterglow gradually falls on the modern city. While the street lights slowly extinguish, it also announces the arrival of a new day. With the passage of time, the number of pedestrians on the streets has gradually increased, including salaried workers, housewives rushing to the morning market to buy groceries, and many students on their way to school. So, is this considered a time travel or a rebirth? Li Youfeng squatted on the roadside in a daze, looking at the crowds coming and going on the street with some confusion. Due to his refusal to accept reality and the fact that his clothes were not clean, he went crazy like a lunatic all day yesterday. It wasn't until the next morning, when Li Youfeng was hungry, that he had to accept his current situation. After some inquiry, Li Youfeng discovered that his place was called Tong Shirya, which had the same name as the classic anime Game King that he was familiar with during his elementary school years on Earth. Both were supposed to be fictional cities in a certain island country. Due to the unfamiliar geographical environment of Tong Shirya, Li Youfeng wandered around like a headless fly for a whole day without finding the card game store that appeared in the anime. He didn't stop until he was extremely hungry. To be honest, if it weren't for the free drinking water in the small park in this city, he probably wouldn't have been able to carry it anymore. However, it is gratifying that the popularity of duel monsters in this city is very high. Whether it is office workers or housewives, almost everyone has a set of cards, and even school exams are mostly closely related to duel monsters. The city where the first-generation Duel King Mudo game is located. I wonder if my current level can compete with Wang Xiang. With a slight sigh, Li Youfeng looked helplessly at the card pendant hanging on his chest. Since arriving in this world, this small and exquisite card pendant has appeared out of thin air. No matter what method he uses, it cannot be removed from his neck. After his repeated probing, this card pendant not only showed no response, but even the cards collected by his predecessor were not brought with him. It should be noted that in this world dominated by duel monsters, this directly led to Li Youfeng not even having a way to find a good job. You should know that in this world dominated by duel monsters, if you want to live well, the level of skill in duel games is directly related to your treatment. However, the only thing that Li Youfeng is pleased with is that his 28-year-old age in his previous life has actually recovered to 16 years old. Not only is his body strong, but his appearance is also quite good, at least much more handsome than his predecessor. Goo goo. Accompanied by the protests emanating from his stomach, Li Youfeng was almost starving with stars in his eyes, and he didn't know how long his body had not eaten anything. Anyway, if he couldn't find a job today, he would have to go grab a child's lollipop to satisfy his hunger. However, contrary to expectations, Li Youfeng, who had worked hard all morning again, still couldn't find a suitable job. Even the position of a laborer in a convenience store was rejected by the boss because he didn't have a duel monster card. Looking at the young man who was competing with him with a provocative expression on his face because he got a job, if it weren't for his lack of strength due to hunger, he would have summoned his right hand and hit him with a big pussy. Afternoon, Li Youfeng, who had not yet found a job, sat helplessly beside a flower bed on the roadside. He watched as 3 elementary school students who had just finished school walked towards him with a smile while eating braised sea bream. Li Youfeng, who had already turned red with hunger and was about to lose his sanity, said he could no longer control himself. Damn it, those who hold on to their courage starve those who are cowardly. Fight. Xiaobiao, wait a moment. Li Youfeng made up his mind and tried to make his expression more fierce. He blocked 3 elementary school students with a fierce smile on his face. I opened this road and planted this tree. If you want to live from now on, stay and eat. You, what do you want to do? Okay, it's so scary. Did we get robbed? No, please help. This handsome guy is the local snake of this street. Seeing the 3 little ones trembling, Li Youfeng became even more proud. If he punched him, he would definitely cry for a long time. Hurry up and give me what you're eating in your hands, otherwise I'll... Hello. However, just as Li Youfeng was ecstatic, a cold voice suddenly rang in his ear, and at the same time, Li Youfeng felt someone tapping his shoulder. Who is that? Dare to interfere with this handsome guy I poop. With a puzzled expression on his face, Li Youfeng turned around. Before he could even see who was patting him on the shoulder, he felt a hard punch in his abdomen. The punch was so powerful that Li Youfeng directly covered his stomach and collapsed, almost pouring out the tap water he had just filled. You don't talk about martial arts, carry out surprise attacks. Humph. You scumbag, extorting snacks from children, you still have the face to say that I don't speak martial arts. Wow. It's Sister 16 Knights. Sister, you're good at fighting. This is a bad person who wants to steal our snacks. Yes. 16 Knights' sister gave this bad guy a harsh lesson. Upon hearing the childish condemnation of the children, Li Youfeng almost awkwardly used his toes to snap out a 3-bedroom living room. He suppressed the pain in his abdomen and slowly looked up, only to see the 3 little ones hiding behind a girl wearing a JK school uniform, who was staring at him with a disdainful expression. 16 Night exhalation. Wow, what a beautiful girl. It can be said that this is not inferior to the world in the anime. I saw this girl with a traditional Yamato style, G-style, hairstyle, and her bright red hair hanging down her waist like flames, showcasing the girl's vitality and enthusiasm. Her height is not high, about 1.6 meters, but her delicate and lovely face reveals that she is an extremely rare beauty embryo. The only downside is that she is a bit shabby at the moment, but judging from her current attire, as a junior high school student, she should still have the possibility of secondary development. Misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. Li Youfeng was afraid of being beaten again, so he quickly raised his hands and surrendered. Vexia. Listen to my sophistry, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make a joke with them. Do you need to grab children's snacks for a joke? The beautiful girl named 16 Nights clearly didn't believe Li Youfeng's lies. Or do you think I'm blind and can't see what you did just now? Number 34, Vexia, spare your life. Number 34, seeing the young girl squinting her eyes and moving her fists slowly approaching her, Li Youfeng was frightened and sweated profusely. Xiao Ku has just arrived, and someone has stolen his wallet and everything else. Plus, I haven't eaten for a day, and I'm almost starving to death. And I don't even have a dual monster card on me, and no one is willing to use me even when looking for a job. This really can't be blamed on me. Besides, I just want their snack cushion to cushion my stomach, and I don't mean to harm them. That's how it turns out. In this world of dueling monsters, there is naturally a distinction between high and low talents. Therefore, for those who do not have dueling monster cards, this means that they do not have the talent for dueling, and usually can only do some hard work that puts in effort but does not earn much. In a preconceived situation, this girl naturally believes that Li Youfeng is a person without dueling talents. Alright, this big brother is not a bad person. Hurry up and go home. Thank you, Sister 16 Nights. Goodbye, Sister 16 Nights. Seeing the young girl turn around and wave goodbye to the three little ones, Li Youfeng stealthily got up from the ground and wanted to slip away. However, just as he took 2 steps, the girl's cold voice came again, "Where do you want to go?" Li Youfeng, who was stopped by the girl again, was so scared that he was all over. He showed a smile that was even worse than crying, and carefully turned around to ask, "That Vexia, do you have anything else to do? What's your name? Honestly answer, otherwise I'll beat you up." "My name is Li Youfeng." Li Youfeng. You don't seem to be from the Sakura country by name." "Yes. I'm not from the Sakura country. I don't know if you know about the country of Huaxia, but I am." "Of course I know. China is a great country, and the strength of their duelers is very impressive. Since you come from China, you must have a high level of dueling skills." I mistakenly thought that Li Youfeng must have been stolen along with his card deck and wallet, and the girl suddenly showed a look like picking up a treasure. "Meet me, my name is 16 Night Sun. You can call me Xiao Sun, please take care of me." Hello. Please take good care of me." Watching 16 Night Smoke extend his hand, Li Youfeng touched his head and awkwardly gently shook it. "Youfeng, it seems like you haven't found a job yet. Would you be willing to come and work for me? I can pay your salary and also arrange accommodation for you." "Really, really?" Upon hearing that 16 Night Sun was willing to hire him, Li Youfeng was overjoyed and quickly nodded in agreement. "That's great, I would love to. Miss Xiaoxuan, is your family running a company? Do you think you're very wealthy?" "Well, our family's fixed industry is mainly in the medical field. When it comes to total assets, although it's not as bad as Shanghai Ma Entertainment Group, it's not too bad." With a cute smile on her face, 16 Night Sun continued, "I opened my own card game store and happen to lack a waiter. I think you're quite suitable. Can it be compared to Haima Entertainment Company? The former is a globally renowned company that can rival Fantasy Society in the later stage, but its strength is still considered not too poor. This little girl is obviously a wealthy daughter. No way. This thigh must be tightly hugged, at least manage to eat and control it. Oh. That's it." Li Youfeng awkwardly scratched his head and asked with some embarrassment, "Miss Xiaoxuan, should we go back to the store now? By the way, I haven't eaten for a whole day and I'm almost starving. Hehe, this is not a problem anymore. Reaching out from her backpack, she took out a bento box and handed it to Li Youfeng while saying, "This is my bento. I'm trying to lose weight, so you can help me eat it. We're not going back to the store now. I've received reliable intelligence that the only remaining 4th ultra-rare card in the world has appeared in a game store. Where is our destination? If possible, I hope to buy it as my store treasure. What card is so rare that it can be used as the treasure of a shop?" The words of 16 Nights Exhalation stunned Li Youfeng, who was preparing to indulge in a feast. "Hehe, you haven't seen anything of this, have you? Follow me, I'll let you open your eyes today." As Li Youfeng's employer, 16 Night Sun had no boss's airs at all. Li Youfeng followed her while eating, and the two quickly got to know each other along the way. "We're here. It's this game store." Following 16 Nights all the way to the door of a game card store, Li Youfeng looked at the store in front of him with a surprised expression. "Isn't this Nima the grandfather of Muto games in the anime, the shop opened by Muto Shuangliu, who is known as the 10,000-year tool man? Is what Xiaoxian said about as the super rare card in Jijiang's hand the whiteboard, blue-eyed, and white dragon? That's also considered a super rare card. Are you joking? I have 100 ways to make the opposite side unable to take this card, believe it or not." I didn't even notice Li Youfeng's awkward expression, so 16 Night Sun pushed the door open and walked into the store. "Grandpa Shuangliu, I'm here again. This time, I'm full of sincerity." "Oh hehe, so it's Xiaoxian." Accompanied by a familiar laugh, the chicken sauce with the iconic spider leg hairstyle appeared in Li Youfeng's view. "I've said it many times, but this card was given to me by my old buddy. It's an invaluable treasure to me, and I absolutely cannot transfer it. Grandpa Shuangliu, please do me a favor and pity me. Seeing that the temptation was not successful, 16 Night Sun used a coquettish tactic in the blink of an eye. She shook Muto Shuangliu's arms and coquettishly said, "You also know that Xiaoxian just opened a card store and urgently needs some store treasures. Xiaoxian promised her grandfather that she would never sell this card, so you agreed to sell it to someone else." "Oh hehe, this it's not possible." The elderly chicken sauce clearly couldn't withstand 16 Night Sun's coquettish tactics, so he could only laugh foolishly. "If Xiaoxian really needs cards from the town store, I still have a few rare cards here. How about giving you some? As for that super rare card, I really can't sell it. Grandpa Shuangliu. Seeing that Muto Shuangliu remained unmoved, 16 Night Sun had no choice but to continue fighting relentlessly. However, just then, the door of the game store was suddenly opened. "Chicken sauce. We're back. Old man, we're here." "Chicken sauce, excuse me." Turning to see the 4 people entering, Li Youfeng's pupils suddenly shrank. Damn it, this familiar starfish head and the gambling god Jin Mao are real people. The other 2 are Honda and Apricot. The main characters are all here, so President Haima should be coming soon too. Chapter 3, 4th Blue-Eyed White Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Game, you guys finished school. Did you come with a few of your classmates today? Seeing his grandson bringing his classmates to the store, Muto Shuangliu quickly changed the topic. "Miss Sun, you're here again. It seems like you've known 16 Night Sun for a long time," and Muto Gameplay greeted with a smile. "You should still be here for Grandpa's super rare card, right?" "Well, yes. It seems that 16 Night Sun and Muto Games have known each other for a long time, so speaking naturally, I also opened a card game store because of my idol's job. However, since it just opened and didn't have much fame, that's why I thought of Grandpa 66 super rare card." Wow, 16 Night Sun, she's actually a real person. I can't believe that the grandfather of the game even knows such a celebrity. It's really hard to judge people by their appearance. "Oh no, Miss Sun, who debuted as an idol dueler, actually visited such a rundown shop in person. I'm not dreaming, am I? Seeing the resemblance of Brother Pig to Honda in the city, Li Youfeng was also somewhat surprised. He couldn't believe that his boss was still an idol, but this was completely different from the original work he was familiar with. Is it because he arrived that the plot of the original work changed slightly? You two bastards. Who are you calling a rundown shop? Upon hearing how the city and Honda were slandering their game store, Mudo Shuangliu was momentarily displeased. I have dozens of rare cards that have not been circulated on the market, and I have the treasure of a shop. You even say that I run a rundown shop. How unreasonable. I must repair you well today. Ah. Old man, we were wrong. No, don't start. Huh, you two deserve it. Watching his grandfather in the city, as well as Honda, getting into a fight, Mudo Gaming had to awkwardly touch his hair and start laughing. However, just then, a voice suddenly came over. Aibo. What's wrong? Another me. I feel that there seems to be something wrong with the man next to Miss Sun. There is a strange energy in him that I am familiar with but cannot express based on my intuition. He must be an extraordinary dueler. Is that so? Upon hearing Wang Yan's words, Xiaobiao turned to look at Li Youfeng. Miss Sun, who is this? Ah, he is Li Youfeng from China, my newly recruited shop assistant. Seeing that Wuting Games seemed to be very interested in Li Youfeng, 16-Knight Sun also generously introduced her. Hello, my name is Li Youfeng. I am 16 years old and come from China. Nice to meet you. Ah, hello, my name is Mudo Games, and I am also 16 years old. I believe we can become good friends. It should be said that Xiaobiao's interpersonal skills are really impressive. Coupled with his gentle personality, it is easy to get to know Li Youfeng. You two stinky kids, okay. Today, the old man, I'll let you broaden your horizons and show you what a super rare card is. Seemingly angered by the attitude of both the city and Honda, Mudo Shuangliu turned to the counter and took out a beautifully packaged box from the bottom compartment behind him. Don't blink. After gently placing the box on the counter, Mudo Shuangliu showed a proud expression. He slowly opened the box and saw a beautiful card lying quietly at the bottom of the box. Blue-eyed white dragon. It has 3000 attack power. What a terrifying card. Wow. What a beautiful card. Oh my goodness. It's really the only fourth green-eyed white dragon card left in the world. Grandpa Shuangliu, please sell me this card, I will definitely keep it well. Please. After seeing the real card, 16-Knight Sun became even more excited. Oh hee hee. Selling is impossible, I won't sell in my lifetime. Gently caressing his beard, Shuangliu Chicken Sauce's face showed a proud expression. How about now, who dares to say that the old man's game store I opened is a rundown shop? Two stinky kids, are you convinced now? Wow, it's really this whiteboard card. Seeing the chicken sauce carefully holding the card in his arms, Li Youfeng's face immediately showed an indescribable awkward expression. Of course, it's not that this blue-eyed white dragon card is bad, it's just that in the duel environment he is familiar with in later generations, the purpose of this card is just a material. More time is spent in the cemetery, and even in some specialized white dragon card decks, this card may not even have the qualification to go to the cemetery at the first time. Moreover, Li Youfeng is very certain that in that environment, besides the president, no one would throw this whiteboard card without any resistance on the field like this. However, just as Li Youfeng was lacking in interest, he suddenly felt the card pendant hanging on his chest flicker, and at the same time, a picture frame resembling a game interface appeared in front of him out of thin air. Rare card detected. Set the target. Blue-eyed white dragon. Please ask the host to touch the card to absorb elf energy in order to unlock the card library. Nanny. Li Youfeng grew his mouth in surprise when he saw the sudden message appearing in front of him. Did this pendant actually work here? Thinking that he didn't even have a card on him, Li Youfeng made a decision in an instant. Walking to the counter, Li Youfeng spoke with a sincere expression on his face and said, "Grandpa Shuangliu, can I take a look at this card?" "Oh Youfeng." Wu-Ting Shuangliu lightly touched his chin and handed the card to Li Youfeng with a smile. "Here, take a good look for you." "Thank you, Grandpa 66. With a serious expression, Li Youfeng took over the blue-eyed white dragon. He was so excited that he almost jumped out of place, because just as he touched the blue-eyed white dragon, the picture frame that looked like a game interface popped up again. Name: Li Youfeng. Level 1 skill. Magic Trap Affinity, Note. Limited to 1 time per game, ties. Atra Worm, Vampire Miss, Atra Worm Bewitched, Miss Vampire. Unlocking. The Temptation of Worm Demons, some cards from the Vampire Empire. Seeing these two familiar names again in this unfamiliar world, Li Youfeng almost burst into tears on the spot. As a heavy underworld bullhead, these two wives have been with Li Youfeng since he first met the Game King. In Li Youfeng's words, anyone could betray him, but these two cards have never disappointed him. Seeing these two cards and some of them unlocked into usable states under the picture frame, Li Youfeng was even more excited and indescribable. He trembled and returned the blue-eyed white dragon to Wu-Ting Shuangliu. People who didn't know the specific situation thought he was feeling uncontrollable because he touched this blue-eyed white dragon. "Youfeng, now you believe what I'm saying." She patted Li Youfeng's shoulder solemnly, and 16 Knight Sun said with an aged expression, "Well, after all, it's the only 4th super rare card left in the world, and it's inevitable that you'll get excited." Perhaps. Knowing that 16 Knight Sun might have misunderstood, Li Youfeng didn't want to explain anything. After wiping the tears from the corners of his eyes, he showed a happy smile. Although the blue-eyed white dragon is also very good, the level of its attack power does not represent everything. The important thing is its own bond with the card, otherwise even the strongest card cannot escape the fate of defeat. Aibo. Well, I understand. On the other hand, your intuition is really right. I can now be certain that Youfeng is definitely a strong dueler. Ah, it's great that you can understand. I just don't know what tactics he will use. I really hope to fight him one day. I am also looking forward to fighting him. Oh young man, it seems you really understand. Without reaching out to take the blue-eyed white dragon in Li Youfeng's hand, Wu-Ting Shuangliu seemed to have made up his mind after giving him a deep glance and nodding with a contented expression. "Xiaoxian, although I cannot sell this card to you, for the sake of this young man's face, I have decided to lend this card to you. You can display it in your new store, which can also increase your reputation. I believe your game store will soon get back on track." "Really? Thank you, chicken sauce." 16 Knight Sun, who had never intended to sell this blue-eyed white dragon, was overjoyed upon hearing this. After all, Mudo Shuangliu's decision was already a great help to her. Youfeng, you are really my lucky star. Boss, you're flattering me. I'm not that talented. Pop it. Just as Li Youfeng was looking embarrassed, the door of the game store was suddenly opened. Li Youfeng, who had suddenly reacted, immediately realized that the famous Haima president had arrived. "Yo, I've heard that the grandfather of the game opened a card store for a long time, but what's going on with such a shabby store? Will there really be cards worth buying in a store like this?" The proud president didn't give any face to Mudo game and directly activated the spray mode. Ha! Haima. Haima's words immediately made the city a bit unhappy. "You actually know the dueling monster card, do you think you are also a dueling player like me? Hey. Don't joke anymore." Haima closed his eyes and shook his head helplessly. "Do you have the qualifications to be on par with me? After all, I have the strength to win the Dueling Monster National Championship. You may not understand yet, but I can make it clearer that you, these miscellaneous fish, are not at the same level as me. What are you talking about? Veins suddenly appeared on the forehead inside the city. You're really arrogant. Did you come to find fault on purpose? Humph, I'm not that bored to argue with such a lowly person like you. Just as Haima was about to continue mocking the city, he suddenly saw the card in Li Youfeng's hand. This is. Suddenly pouncing on Li Youfeng, Haima's eyes flickered with light. He stared intently at the card in Li Youfeng's hand, gritted his teeth, and suddenly placed the suitcase on the counter. Kid, give me the blue-eyed white dragon in your hand. How about I exchange this box of rare cards with you? Sorry, this is not for sale. Leaving aside that this card is not his own, even if it is his own, Li Youfeng will definitely not hand it over. After all, for the president who already has 3 blue-eyed white dragons, if this card is in his hands, the consequences will be unimaginable. Coup sûr. However, Li Youfeng underestimated the president's persistence in getting married. He slammed his hands hard on the counter and continued speaking with a grim expression, I can pay, no matter how much you want, you can ask any price you want. It seems you still don't understand. After carefully covering the blue-eyed white dragon in the box, Li Youfeng turned around and handed it to 16 Knight Sun. Strictly speaking, this card was borrowed from my boss, so you got the key wrong. Youfeng is right. 16 Knight Sun, who almost drooled, picked up the box as if she had found a treasure. She held the box with both hands and rubbed it against her forehead, saying proudly, this blue-eyed white dragon has the power of bondage. It is the friendship and spiritual sustenance of Grandpa Shuangliu, and I am only borrowing it for exhibition. I absolutely cannot sell such a treasure. Besides, our 16 Knights family consortium is not short of money. Haima Jun, you should understand that there are some things that you cannot buy with any amount of money. Is the little princess of the 16 Knights family. After all, she is just a superficial woman who uses the gimmicks of a dueler to attract attention. Damn seahorse. Who are you talking about as a shallow woman? I have the strength to compete in the top 64 of the Monster Duel national competition. How dare you say that to me? I want to fight you. Duel with me. Just you. Humph, I never bully women, especially weak and pitiful women. Staring fiercely at 16 Knight Sun, Haima shifted his gaze from choosing someone to devouring Li Youfeng. Kid, you dare to disobey my orders. I remember you now. I believe we will meet again soon. Goodbye. Closing the suitcase, Hayamas turned around and walked out of the door of the game store. What nonsense fetters, what spiritual sustenance, only absolute power can completely destroy all enemies blocking in front of me. Wait, I absolutely cannot allow the 4th blue-eyed white dragon to appear in this world, I will definitely get it. Youfeng Jun, don't worry about it. It wasn't until Haima walked out of the store that Wooden Games looked at Li Youfeng with a worried expression. Haima Jun may have been targeting you, why don't you still? Oh, what are you talking about, Game Master? After finally getting the blue-eyed white dragon, how could 16 Knight Sun possibly hand it over? Don't forget, Youfeng is not only my shop assistant, but also a Chinese person. Can Chinese people's fighting ability be inferior? So just rest assured, it's Youfeng, yes, it's him, he will definitely protect this blue-eyed white dragon. Hey! How could it be me? The words of 16 Knights' exhalation made Li Youfeng's face immediately turn black. I'll give you a raise. 16 Knights Xuanbi made a gesture of adding money. Boss, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. I promise to complete the task. The next afternoon. Lavender Card Game Store. Due to having to go to school on the 16th night, the job of looking at the store naturally fell on Li Youfeng. After cleaning the store, Li Youfeng brewed himself a cup of tea and climbed on the counter with a contented expression, sorting out the cards he had just received. Hee, my little Atra, you are indeed the cutest in the world. Oh no, Miss Vampire, I didn't mean that. In my heart, you are the cutest in the world, just like Atra. There is also this familiar red pit, and this familiar insect demon little cuteness. Hee hee, you are all my little sweethearts. Well, the angel's alms, the pot of lust, these timeless forbidden cards can be used casually. This kind of card is really abnormal. Oh, and there are no restrictions on the use of the Hanno Knight's noble power. Taking out such a deck will be punished by heaven. Li Youfeng, who had initially unlocked a small portion of his previous life's deck, was immersed in a little happiness. However, just as he had assembled a set of specialized and habitual decks, a black sedan suddenly stopped at the entrance of the Lavender Card Game Store. As the door of the game store was rudely opened, 3 strong men wearing black suits and sunglasses stormed in with fierce intent. The suits of these 3 people in black are embroidered with the logo of the Haima Group, and their purpose is self-evident. Chapter 4. Pitfalls, you didn't discuss it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That Big Brothers, you actually don't have to look so hard. Also, do you have the safety on your gun? You must hold it steady and don't accidentally fire it. Big Brother, you have to say something. I don't know how to run away, I'm just making friends. Why do we have to be so deadlocked? On a black sedan, Li Youfeng was nervously squeezed in the middle of the back seat by 2 bodyguards. Under the enthusiastic invitation and pressure from the 3 bodyguards and, gun, AI cool, brain, chin, bag, Li Youfeng had to hastily leave a note and obediently be pressed by them to go to the Haima Group to play cards with the president. Having lived in a peaceful society for a long time, how could Li Youfeng have imagined that someone would actually point a gun at him in broad daylight? Although the Sakura Country Triad is considered a legitimate organization, you should know that this is the era of the rule of law, and this is a technologically advanced modern society. Is there still a royal law? Do you still have any laws? What are these officials from Sakura Country doing? How can you feel at ease spending taxpayer money on such social security? Are you saying that the Haima Group covers the sky and doesn't even dare to manage the government officials? Sorry to bother you, just pretend I didn't say anything. With dissatisfaction towards the Sakura Country Yamen officials and a sense of unease about not wanting to be physically challenged, Li Youfeng was escorted all the way to the office building of the Haima Group. It is said to be an office building, but in fact, the headquarters of Haima Group is already a well-equipped large-scale entertainment center, and the technological level of this place is no worse than the 3D game consoles that Li Youfeng played in his previous life. It should be noted that in his original world, those game consoles were not fully popularized until 26XX. Arriving in front of a dual instrument, the Hayamos man had already stood on the other side of the dual platform. He held his arms and looked down with a fierce smile. Humph, you upright arrow maple downright arrow. I'm glad you didn't try to escape, come on. Facing me like a real man, the bet is the most precious card for both of us. As a lowly person, you must understand that you have no right to reject me. Your proposal is great. Li Youfeng spread out his hands and shook his head helplessly before suddenly changing his face. Ga Kweo Tua Walu. My favorite thing in Li Youfeng's life is to loudly say. To those who think they are confident and believe they have a good chance of winning. Click. 2 cold pistols simultaneously hit Li Youfeng's forehead. Kid, I didn't hear clearly in my ears just now. I'll give you a chance to organize your language again. Big brother. 2 half-brothers, half-brothers. Don't be impulsive, I said, yes. It's just a joke, liven up the atmosphere, don't you need to do this, right? Fighting and killing are so hurtful and friendly, right? Oh, can the 2 big brothers stop fighting me? I can walk on my own, can't I? I said you 2 should be gentle, can you? I have a bad heart and a bit afraid of heights. Just as Li Youfeng was being thrown onto the duel table by 2 bodyguards, several figures suddenly rushed out from the entrance below the gaming platform. Haima. You bastard, you dare to kidnap my employees. You really don't take our 16 Knights Foundation seriously. Haima Jun, why did you do such a thing? It's not right to turn a duel monster into violence. Haima. You bastard, if you want to fight, come towards me. I won't be afraid of you in my city. Ulu Sai suddenly let out a loud shout, and Haima grinned as he looked at Muto Games and others led by 16 knights, saying, this duel has nothing to do with personal grudges. As a man, he has already stepped onto the duel stage, which means that this duel has already begun. The only solution can only be to either surrender or fall. Do you want to see him become a deserter? Or do you have no sense of honor as a dueler? Haima Jun. AIBO. Number 34, another me number 34, I don't know when, but Wang Yang had already replaced Xiaobiao. He stood under the stage, staring at Haima Sito intently. Haima, don't be too proud. I firmly believe that you, who don't know how to duel with monster ties and souls, will never be able to defeat Youfeng Jun. This duel will definitely end with your defeat. Ha ha ha. Wang Yan's words couldn't help but make Haima burst into laughter. A group of ignorant lower-class people, you don't even understand what kind of power I am currently holding. The duel adopts the latest rules of the Haima group, with 2,000 health points. Those with 0 health points will be defeated. Virtual System Startup. You upright arrow maple downright arrow. Are you ready to suffer to death, ha dot. With a gentle sigh, Li Youfeng's eyes suddenly flashed with an extremely faint red light. At this moment, he was no longer the usual carefree demeanor, but the strongest duel king to win 5 consecutive World Cup championships in the future world. Since you want to be beaten up, then I'll do it for you. Duel. X2 I took the lead. Haima launched an attack first. Draw a card. I will be one-eyed. Wait a moment. With a loud scream from Li Youfeng, Haimas almost didn't lift him up in one breath. He gritted his teeth and stared at Li Youfeng. What do you want to do? No, what I mean is, how can you draw a card if you are attacking first? Do you understand the game rules? Did you know that you violated the rules? Puff. Youfeng Jun, who are you? I'm going. I think I'm just enough to cook. Youfeng is even more novice than me. Ah, it's done. My blue-eyed white dragon. Li Youfeng's words instantly stunned Wang Yan and others in the audience, and 16 Knight Sun couldn't even accept the blow and fainted. Ha ha ha, you're an outsider. It seems like you don't understand at all. Forget it, I'm too lazy to explain it to you. Since that's the case, then you can rest assured and die. I represent it as a Cyclops attack power of 1200, defense power of 1000. Saw. Newcomer, it's your turn. But I guess you can't come up with any decent cards either. Ha ha ha. Damn it. What kind of rule breaking is this, Ma Dan? I only remember the plot, I don't even know the current duel rules. This Nima attacks first and needs to draw another card. What a shameless act of being naughty and not letting anyone talk about it. Cut, it's really shameless. Li Youfeng made a contemptuous gesture towards the Haimas man and then raised his hand to touch his deck of cards. My turn, draw. Ah. Surprisingly, I was drawn on the first one. Is this what we call the bond value, dot? Taking a glance at the binding card displayed on his attribute page, Li Youfeng raised his mouth slightly and directly slapped the card he had just drawn onto the electronic instrument. I summon Atra Worm Demon, attack power 1800, defense power 1000, to attack. Accompanied by a burst of electronic sound, a flash of light flickered on the duel field, and a black-clad little loli, about 1.4 meters tall and resembling a spider in appearance, appeared out of thin air. She had a sinister smile on her face, and a black aura slowly floated beside her. Huh, what is this? Can such a tiny creature be called a duel monster? As expected, the cards of the lower class are all miscellaneous fish. Seeing Li Youfeng summoning such a harmless little lowly, Haima Seat couldn't help but burst out laughing. Oh my goodness, my blue-eyed white dragon is really gone this time. Seeing the thin and small monster on Li Youfeng's field, 16 Knight Sun, who had just woken up, fainted again. President Haima, I advise you not to underestimate others too much. I'll put a card on it, Atra. Attack and take down that stupid guy for me. Spider hands entangle and kill. Upon receiving the order from Li Youfeng, Atra Worm's enchanting eyes flickered with red light, and a black giant claw was drawn out. The one-eyed giant could not withstand such an attack and turned into fragments in a burst of screams. Hippocampus LP1-10. Brother. Haima Keeping nervously shouted from the other side of the stands as he saw Haima Seat lose blood first. Humph. As a newcomer, you've done a great job already. Besides, it wouldn't be interesting to get rid of you all at once. Haima sneered, clearly not wavering from his monster being defeated. My turn, draw. Newcomer, let me show you what kind of cards can be called rare cards. Come on, Sapphire Dragon, attack power 1900, defense power 1600. At this moment, interrupted Haima's shout, Li Youfeng waved his hand. When there are Atra worms and demons on our field, I can activate the usual trap cards with holes, and empty characters from my hand. Therefore, I can activate the drop hole from my hand to destroy monsters with an attack power of over 1000 summoned by my opponent. Bang! Note. During this period, the original rule of stepping on traps would result in a deduction of health, but this rule is too confusing and the author cannot calculate it. Therefore, for the sake of clarity, it is abandoned here. Readers should bear with it. As a red pit was thrown into the cemetery by Li Youfeng, the sapphire dragon that slowly fell from the air even fell into a deep and bottomless pit before it could even stand firm. Accompanied by a piercing scream, the sapphire dragon was undoubtedly blown into pieces. Sapphire dragon. There is a big pit on the land of Nima. Who dug it? Is anyone in charge or not? Nanny. What the hell? What is this thing? How could a trap card still be used like this? The other me, the monster called Atra Worm, has such a terrifying monster effect. Yeah, Ibwa. It's amazing that he has the ability to directly activate trap cards from his hand. Isn't that overwhelming? Such a monster is so terrifying, it seems that we've all been deceived by its cute appearance. You, upright arrow maple downright arrow. His monster entered the cemetery without even settling its feet, and the Haima Seat man was almost gritting his teeth. You despicable guy. Seeing the president looking so embarrassed, Li Youfeng clasped his nostrils and waved his hand, saying, Hey, what's wrong with the president? If he can't play cards, he attacked him personally. Didn't you pull him a lot just now? Keep smiling and show me. How I wish I could see your bright smile again. You damn it. Don't be complacent, you're just living a few more rounds. My turn is over. Although very unwilling, the president could only end his own turn. My turn, draw. Hee, this card comes at the right time. I summon the spinning beaver worm demon from my hand, attack 1200, defense 1600. Next, I liberate the spinning beaver worm demon by selecting a typical trap card with characters such as Hollow and Falling Hole from our graveyard and deck, and placing it on the field. Fighting. How dare you hold a gun to my head, Atra, take revenge on me and charge up and hit him hard. Drip. Hey. What's going on? Atra, what's wrong with you? Don't you love me anymore? Why don't you go up and smoke him? A piercing electronic sound sounded, and Li Youfeng looked at Atra Bug bewitching on the field with a bewildered expression. However, in response to Li Youfeng was Atra's extremely humane and resentful gaze. Youfeng Jun, the rules for duel monsters are not to directly attack players. Apart from 0 health, if there are no monsters on the opponent's field and no monsters are summoned within 1 turn, it will be treated as a failure. At the same time, if there are no dual monsters that can be summoned, it will also be treated as a failure. You should learn more about duel rules. Ah! Is there such a game rule? Well, my turn is over. After hearing Wang Yang's kind explanation for himself, Li Youfeng smiled bitterly and quickly apologized to the Atra insect on the field, saying, "Atra, my little cutie, I'm sorry, I blamed you wrong." Humph. As if hearing Li Youfeng's apology, Atra Worm Demon hugged his chest with both hands and gave him a beautiful white eye. My turn. Draw cards. Although somewhat dissatisfied, the shrunken Haima seat knows he can't underestimate Li Youfeng anymore. Otherwise, if the news of losing to a beginner due to carelessness spreads, his face as a national championship champion will really be lost. Hehe, is it actually this card? Youfeng, I have found a way to crack your despicable tactics. You prepare to die. I summon the Evil Night Dragon from my hand card to attack power 2350, defense power 2400. At this moment, I launched a trap card to fall into the cave and destroy monsters with an attack power of over 1000 that my opponent usually summons. Bang! As a bottomless pit reappeared on the seahorse's field, the Evil Night Dragon and the previous Sapphire Dragon almost fell into the pit with the same action and turned into fragments. Even their screams were surprisingly similar. Evil Night Dragon. Well, sell lots, President. You're not authentic. You knew there was a pit on the ground and even let me step on it. I think you did it on purpose. Sapphire Dragon. Yo. Hey buddy, you're also coming down. Come on, lie down in a good position quickly, let's think about dragon life together. Humph, that's true. You up right arrow maple down right arrow. I knew you would do this early on. I launched a magic card double summon from my hand card, and this round, I can summon a monster again as usual. My pride, my soul, my most loyal servant, come out. Bruazi White Doragon, attack 3000, defense 2500. Pause. Damn it. What do you want to do? No, you'll wait for a while. Li Youfeng interrupted Haima with his hand, feeling a bit embarrassed. Actually, I wanted to ask you earlier. I won't mind the Evil Dragon Knight, but it's not appropriate for your 8-star monster to shoot directly on the field. Don't you need any sacrifices? You don't even need magic cards. How about using a special summon to cover up your deceitful behavior? Although I'm not quite sure about the current duel rules, it seems like you're going too far. And in my memory, it seems that such a monster can't be directly photographed on the field, right? Ha, what idiot are you talking about? Haima looked at his intellectually disabled expression. Dueling monsters can't even summon monsters. What kind of dueling monster is it called? Isn't this common sense? Ah. Now summoning monsters used to be something that can be directly filmed. Alright. Forget it, just pretend I didn't say it, but when you successfully summon, it's my turn to take action. Open the cover card. At this moment, I unleashed the trap card Nailuo's Lair. When the opponent summons monsters with attack power exceeding 1500, destroy and exclude. Nanny. Except for. Haima widened her eyes when she saw Li Youfeng's red and somewhat glaring big hole. Yes, except for that. Li Youfeng gave a sinister smile. Hehe, I'm just trying to trick you into not discussing it. Hurry up and take your pride out of the machine. Also, I'll tell you, I remember how to count it, don't try to be naughty. You bastard. Watching Li Youfeng effortlessly abandon his blue-eyed white dragon, the president's heart was almost shattered. Blue eyes and white dragons number 1. Konama couldn't even enter the cemetery this time, but he went seriously to see the stars. My turn, it's over. Damn it. What did I see? For 2 consecutive rounds, that Haima seat man's field couldn't even summon a monster. I can't even understand how Youfeng did it. Oh my goodness, I must be dreaming. Is Youfeng really just a beginner? No, within the city, you're not dreaming. Although Youfeng still lacks knowledge of duel rules, we have to admit that he is indeed an amazing dueler. Since he had never seen such a duel before, both the city and Wang Yang were plunged into a huge shock. At this moment, Wang Yang quietly asked himself, if he were to confront Li Youfeng, would there really be a way to crack this tactical combination? Chapter 5. The Power of the Knights of Hanno. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 16-Night Sun, who woke up from her coma again, saw that Li Youfeng not only did not lose, but also tightly suppressed the Haima seat person. Her heart was filled with joy. Seahorse Setter, you idiot, you have the face to say that I am a shallow woman. I see you are still a shrunken turtle. It has been so long without even a monster on the field, and your skills are not as good as mine. Ha, Youfeng. Come on, that's it. Teach me a hard lesson for this arrogant guy. As long as you win this duel and go back, I'll give you a salary increase. Seahorse Setter. This annoying stinky woman. Don't worry, boss. Upon hearing that he could receive a salary increase again, Li Youfeng was also very happy in his heart. After making a victory gesture to 16-Night Sun, he quickly turned his attention back to the arena. Hee, my turn. Draw cards. I summon Theo's Worm Demon, attack 1700 defense 1100. When this card is successfully summoned, I can summon a monster with Worm Demon characters in the cemetery as a special summon to defend. Resurrect, Spinning Beaver Worm Demon. Next, I will liberate the Whirlwind Beaver Bug and activate its special effects. I will choose a typical trap card with empty and falling characters from the graveyard and deck, and cover it on the field. My turn is over. What, it's a special summoning that can be achieved without the need for the dead to revive, and it also maximizes the recycling of trap cards in the cemetery. I've never heard of such a gameplay. Can we say that all the duelers in China have such strength? Seeing Li Youfeng's set of operations, Wang Yang and Xiaobiao were both shocked. Games, what is special summoning, and I can't understand what you said at all. With a faint glance at the city, Wang Yan continued, in addition to regular summoning, special summoning uses the card effect to summon monsters countless times. If used properly, multiple monsters can even be summoned in one turn. Youfeng used this card effect precisely. Amazing, it's really amazing. There's such a way to use it in the Tomb of the Dueling Monster. Youfeng, you're really amazing. Another me, do you think Youfeng is really just a beginner? No, Ibwa. I think the reason why Youfeng had such a performance before is likely because the duel rules in China are very different from those in Sakura country, and I can feel that this is definitely not Youfeng's limit. His true strength may be even stronger than we imagine. Another me, I increasingly want to have a fight with Youfeng. I also have this idea, but after going back, we need to adjust our decks well, otherwise we won't be able to deal with tactics like Youfeng just by ourselves now. Oh hee. City Lord, Game Lord, how are you? These are the special employees of our Lavender Game Store, aren't they amazing? What a national champion, it's not a big deal. Haima, you deserve it, you kicked the iron plate now. Seahorse Setter. Stinky woman, please shut up. For Haima President, who was at a disadvantage on the field, the evaluation of the game within the city and the mocking voice of 16-Night Sun was like someone stabbing his heart with a knife. Brother, don't be discouraged. Believe in yourself, you have to pick yourself up. Gui Ping, who heard these words, was also anxious at the moment and quickly cheered for his brother loudly. Damn it, there are 2 more cards. Even though Haima knew very well what cards Li Youfeng was covering on the field, he knew that currently with these 3 cards in his hand, there was no way to break Youfeng's underworld tactics. My turn, draw. Seeing the card just drawn, Haima suddenly had a plan in his heart. I activate the Pot of Desire from my hand and draw 2 more cards. Next, activate the Angel's Charity, draw 3 cards from the deck, and then choose 2 to discard. Watching the President pile graves and pass cards, Li Youfeng felt a pang of angina. What kind of trouble was this forbidden card playing twice? Who set this garbage rule, and is there any way to enforce it? That bastard Youfeng has 3 blocks on the field, but only the middle block was the one he covered from the beginning. This block, which has never been activated before, must be a magic card in my opinion. Since that's the case, let me solve those 2 troublesome cave trap cards first. Having made up his mind, Haima suddenly slapped a card onto the electronic instrument. I usually summon from my hand, and the Demon Head Evil Dragon, attack power 900, defense power 900, attacks. Seeing the Demon Head and Evil Dragon safely landing, the Haima seat person became even more convinced of his thoughts. Youfeng, I'm not mistaken. Your trap cards on the field can only target monsters with attack power exceeding 1000 points. Humph, I'm afraid you'll miscalculate this time. I activate a magic card from my hand to crush and trample. When there are dragon monsters on our field, you can choose a magic card or trap card to destroy it and give 500 damage to the controller of that card. What I want to destroy is naturally the trap card you took out of the cemetery and covered in the field. Bang! Only a loud explosion was heard, and the trap card that Youfeng had just covered from the cemetery was directly shattered by the crushing and trampling effect. Li Youfeng LP 201500. Upon discovering that Li Youfeng had silently placed the damaged trap card in the exclusion zone, Haima laughed heartily and said, "Despicable miscellaneous fish, you can't stop my blue-eyed white dragon now. I will activate the dead from my hand card to revive and awaken the blue-eyed white dragon sleeping in the cemetery. My pride, my soul, my most loyal servant. Come down. Blue-eyed white dragon. Open the cover card, the power grid will sync. When an opponent summons a monster from a deck or graveyard, it can be activated, except for the monster being indicated as inside. Alright, now your soul is gone too. Hurry up and take that card out. The resurrection of the deceased belongs to a special summon, don't I need to explain this? Nanny. No. Watching his blue-eyed white dragon jump out of the cemetery and turn into a speck of starlight in mid-air due to colliding with a power grid, President Haima was so angry that he almost spewed out a mouthful of old blood. Blue-eyed white dragon number 2. Big brother, make way over there, I'll accompany you to watch the stars. Gone. Are you deliberately trying to manipulate my mindset, right? Special exceptions. It's an exception again. You up right arrow maple down right arrow. What do you mean, you bastard? Can this be considered a duel? Cowards. Bravely face me, you shameless and despicable little person. Hee, I can't afford to play anymore, I'm starting to curse again. Li Youfeng expressionlessly dug out his ear. But I just like the way you hate me but can't kill me. Come hit me, you idiot. Humph, ha ha ha. Youfeng. Do you really think you've won? To be honest, you've been tricked. Accompanied by a burst of deep laughter, the seahorse setter suddenly lifted his head and said, "You despicable scumbag, I had long guessed that you would take action on my second blue-eyed white dragon card. Blue eyes and white dragons too. Nanny. After working together for a while, did my teammates sell me? But I don't think you expected it. I just placed 2 blue-eyed white dragons in the cemetery, and now I activate the second magic card from my hand. Resurrection of the Dead. What? Seeing the familiar icon, Li Youfeng's eyes almost protruded and he said, "Can the current rules put 2 resurrected dead cards in the deck? How lax is this? How much can't you afford to play with it? Are you deliberately teasing me, right? Are you being naughty? Haha. Talking too much is useless." President Haima waved his big hand and roared up to the sky, as if he was puffing his brows and exhaling, "My pride, my soul, my most loyal servant. Respond to my call and appear here, Brew, I see white Doragon. Roar. With a loud roar, a huge white dragon finally landed safely on the arena of the duel. Blue Eyes and White Dragons number 3. After going through countless hardships, I have finally stood firm. Follow such an iron-headed and foolish master, do you know how difficult it is for me? Big brother and second sister, don't worry, I will avenge you now. As if pouring out the pent-up anger in its heart, this blue-eyed white dragon's originally blue pupils emitted faint bursts of bright red flames. Ha ha ha. Miscellaneous, now you must have no way to stop my blue-eyed white dragon anymore. Seeing that Li Youfeng did not activate the last card left on the field, the president suddenly felt a bit inflated. Ha ha ha, I knew early on that it wasn't a trap card. We're in battle. Brew Aizo, vent your anger to the fullest, destroy the enemy in front of you, and bring the wine of victory to me. Destroyed explosive blast. Seeing the slowly gathering white light waves in the mouth of the blue-eyed white dragon, Wang Yan and others below the game table also looked frightened. Not good, if blue-eyed white dragon is allowed to stand firm, Youfeng Jun will have no chance of winning. Wow. No, help. My blue-eyed white dragon card. Miss Sun, let go, please let go. You're about to strangle me. This moment. However, just as the president was intoxicated, a voice he least wanted to hear came out again, so much so that Haima couldn't help but tremble fiercely when he heard this voice. Trap card activated. The light of the Holy Spirit shines on the earth, defeating strong enemies for me. Bring me hope and the light of victory, awaken. The noble power of the Hanno Knight. Holy protective cover. Reflective mirror power. Shu Tan. It's really enjoyable to shout out like this. For the extremely happy Li Youfeng, President Haima's mood is obviously not as good as before. Gone. Li Youfeng, you can't afford to play. With a scream from the president of Haima, both the blue-eyed white dragon and the demon-headed evil dragon turned into flying ashes under the dazzling white light. Seeing their third blue-eyed white dragon card being taken down by Li Youfeng again, Haima collapsed on the game table like a deflated ball. Blue-eyed white dragon number 3. Nima is a pit again. I'm sorry, big brother, second sister. I'll help you two get revenge next time. These two in the cemetery, lie down over there, and I'll accompany you to think about the dragon life. After taking out the last blue-eyed white dragon, Li Youfeng raised an eyebrow at the president of Haima with a hint of frustration and said, "Hee, since this card is your last servant, I won't exclude it. After all, you probably don't have a way to resurrect the blue-eyed white dragon now. Why did you cover this kind of card?" Haima Seat asked with a puzzled expression as he stared at Li Youfeng. Ah! Isn't that obvious? Li Youfeng snapped his fingers and smiled slightly, after all, you're the first one. Of course, I need to cover a card that can lift the table in advance, otherwise how can I backhand suppress you? Damn Youfeng. My turn has ended. Brother. Don't give up, stand up quickly. Seeing Haima's decadent expression, Haima Guiping was also extremely anxious. However, at this moment, he was clearly unable to help Haima on the duel platform. My turn, draw. Sorry, President Haima, I just drew this card. It's the blue-eyed white dragon. Pop. A crisp electronic sound sounded, and Li Youfeng summoned the blue-eyed white dragon directly. Without sacrificial offerings, he could directly shoot the sour and refreshing 8-star monster on the field. Whoever really used it knows. Blue-eyed white dragon. The only remaining fourth blue-eyed white dragon in the world. You are indeed standing on the opposite side of me, you have indeed betrayed me. Staring intently at the ruthless growling of Bai Mai in front of him, Haimasran felt like a husband who had been cuckolded and abandoned by his wife. His eyes revealed deep despair without any concealment. You're wrong about Haima. It's not because blue-eyed white dragon betrayed you, but because you've never really owned it. Shaking his head at the seahorse setter, Li Youfeng pointed to him and said, think carefully for yourself. If you get this blue-eyed white dragon, will you really keep it and cherish it? No, you won't. You will only mercilessly destroy it. After all, only 3 blue-eyed white dragons can be placed in a deck. For you who only worship power, this 4th blue-eyed white dragon will only become your enemy. Because you understand the incredibly powerful power of the blue-eyed white dragon, you are timid. You dare not face it, afraid to face it. In front of this 4th blue-eyed white dragon, you are a true coward. Because you don't understand the bond between dueling monsters and duelers, that's why you trample on others' most precious cards recklessly. For me, this blue-eyed white dragon is not only a spiritual refuge for Grandpa Shuangliu, but also a symbol of friendship. It is precisely because I cherish it that it resolutely chooses to fight for me. Blue-eyed white dragon will never be a unique monster that belongs only to you in the future. After saying these words, the blue-eyed white dragon on Li Youfeng's field turned back and gave him a deep, humanized look. After nodding slightly at Li Youfeng, he suddenly felt the card pendant on his chest light up slightly. Then he realized that his attribute page had added something that didn't originally exist. Name: Li Youfeng. Level 1 skill. Magic Trap Affinity, note. Limited to 1 per game, starting with high stars ties. Atra Worm, Vampire Miss, Blue-Eyed White Dragon Unlock, Blue Eyes and White Dragons Special Edition Junior Card Set. So I have gained recognition from Blue-Eyed White Dragon. This card really has the presence of elves. Surprised by the fact that he had once again obtained some cards from his past life, Li Youfeng became even more convinced that this world truly has extraordinary creatures like monsters and elves. So, is all of this my fault? Looking at the 4th blue-eyed white dragon on Li Youfeng's field with a sorrowful expression, Haima, who had no means to revive his blue-eyed white dragon, finally lost his fighting spirit completely at this moment. He placed his hand on his deck, as if he had exhausted all his strength, and slowly spat out 3 words. I gave up. 1 week later. Lavender Card Store. Now every morning when I wake up, I can see this blue-eyed white dragon card at first glance. I am really so happy. Sitting on the chair at the counter, 16 Knight Sun couldn't help but smirk again as she looked at the blue-eyed white dragon placed high in the most prominent part of the counter. After a series of processing, this blue-eyed white dragon card was not only placed in a priceless and exquisite photo frame by 16 Knight Exhalation, but also equipped with a double password lock in the counter. Moreover, what's frustrating is that the counter glass that protects blue-eyed white dragon was specially customized by the 16 Knights Foundation. Even machine gun fire cannot leave a trace on it, which shows how much Sun's parents have doted on her. Thanks to the existence of this rare card, the business of the Lavender Card Store has also been surprisingly good in recent days. In addition to an increase in customers purchasing cards, most of the duelers are more willing to buy this blue-eyed white dragon at a high price, and even willing to exchange cards, but without exception, they have been sternly rejected by 16 Knight Sun. Seeing Li Youfeng, dressed in staff attire and busy pasting posters on the wall, an idea that could once again increase the popularity of the Lavender Card Game Store came to mind in 16 Knight Sun's mind. Chapter 6, I'm Going to Kill You. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bouncing up and down behind Li Youfeng, 16 Knight Sun asked with a cunning expression, Youfeng, I think being a shop assistant with your duel skills is just too mediocre. Do you want to become famous? I don't want to. Li Youfeng has also gained some profound understanding of her boss's personality in recent days. As long as she shows this expression, there will definitely be nothing good. Therefore, Li Youfeng shook his head and refused almost without thinking. Hey! Seeing Li Youfeng's straightforward answer, several black lines instantly appeared on the forehead of 16 Knight Sun. Humph, Youfeng, you're such a fool. Since you won against Haima, why didn't you take his blue-eyed white dragon? Do you really think that Haima seat person would be grateful to you? You know, the predecessor of Haima Group made a fortune by selling weapons. They are a group of crazy people who only understand interests. Boss, you've made me think too complicated. I'm just an ordinary dueler, how could I think about that? After wiping his hands, Li Youfeng immediately said, although Haima may not be considered a good person, we must admit that his persistence and emotions towards blue-eyed white dragon cannot be fake. He takes away someone else's most precious card or something. I cannot do such a thing. Otherwise, what is the difference between me and Haima seat people? Well, what you said makes sense. Excuse me, may I ask if Mr. Li Youfeng is there? During the conversation, two black-clad bodyguards from the Haima group walked in from the store door carrying a box. Big brothers, why are you all here again? Seeing Haima sending these two familiar bodyguards over again, Li Youfeng couldn't help but show an extremely ugly smile. After all, the embarrassing situation of being shot at with a melon seed was too sour and satisfying. Li Youfeng really didn't want to experience it again. This is what President Haima asked us to hand over to you. Additionally, he has one more sentence for us to convey to you. Reaching out to take the suitcase handed over by the bodyguard, Li Youfeng asked with some confusion, what words? The president said that he readily admitted his defeat this time, but don't be complacent. The president only admitted that he was defeated by the fourth blue-eyed white dragon, rather than curling up in a corner and only using despicable means. In no time, the president will definitely challenge you again and wash away the shame. He wants you to wash your neck clean and wait for the blue-eyed white dragon to bite you hard into pieces. Alright, that's all the president said. It's impolite, let's say goodbye. Wow, you truly deserve to be the president of Haima, you are so proud and charming. With a black line on his face, he watched as the two bodyguards turned around and left. Li Youfeng, who was familiar with the character of Haima president, couldn't help but sigh. Haima, who was originally only obsessed with Wang Yang, actually shifted his focus to himself. This was definitely not good news for himself. You should know that in the original work, the Haima seat man is a peerless and ruthless person who never lets go of the dead and even dares to chase you into your ancestral tomb with the body of a living to play cards. It can be imagined that being targeted by such a person is definitely causing oneself a huge trouble. Humph, losing means losing. What excuses are you looking for? You don't look like a man. Roast Haima, and Sun snatched the box in Li Youfeng's hand. Hurry up, sister. What good things are there in Kong Kong? Click. As the suitcase was not locked, 16 Knights Sun easily opened it. However, when she saw a pile of rare cards neatly arranged in the box, even though she had seen many things in the world and was the little princess of 16 Knights, she couldn't help but turn into a star eye. Wow! So many rare cards, this one, and this one, these are the cards that can only be obtained by participating in national competitions and winning the championship. Oh hee hee. That's great. With so many precious and rare cards to strengthen my deck, I'm sure I can win the national competition this time. Humph, when I become the champion, I see who dares to say that I'm just a gimmick vase. With a happy hum, 16 Knights Sun selectively ignored Li Youfeng, who was standing next to her and had a black line on her face. She took out her deck from her waist bag and began to reinforce it without hesitation. Boss, these cards were all given to me by Haima. Youfeng, the bond between us is so deep. Do we still have to distinguish so clearly? Yes. Ignoring the cute tactics of 16 Knights Sun, Li Youfeng nodded expressionlessly. Oh, Youfeng, I'm not talking about you. As a man, you should be more generous, otherwise girls won't like you. Besides, I want to strengthen my card team and participate in the national competition to increase the reputation of our card store. From your perspective, you should also want to make your salary more generous, right? No. Li Youfeng shook his head again. If I sell these rare cards, I believe I can exchange them for a lot of money, so just a salary increase won't satisfy me anymore. Okay. As if she had made up her mind, 16 Knight Sun spoke again. From now on, I will be responsible for cooking in the store, and I will also be responsible for washing the dishes. This way, it will be okay. Deal. It seemed as if he was afraid that 16 Knights might regret it, and Li Youfeng agreed with great satisfaction. As a wealthy otaku in his past life, Li Youfeng relied on takeout for his 3 meals a day. It's not that he doesn't know how to cook, but he often forgets to eat when he's addicted to fighting monsters. And to put it bluntly, the cards sent by the Haima's people to Li Youfeng were actually not worth it at all. Cards like the Pot of Desire were everywhere here. Li Youfeng was already struggling with how to handle these cards. Regarding the rogue behavior of 16 Knight Sun, Li Youfeng actually understands very well in his heart. This kind-hearted girl actually wants to use this method to make herself not too restrained. Although 16 Knight Sun didn't say it, how could Li Youfeng not see it when she lived to be 28 years old in her previous life? Nowadays, these unused cards can be used reasonably. For Li Youfeng, why not do it? Speaking of which, although 16 Knight Sun is the daughter of a wealthy family, the dishes she cooks are surprisingly delicious. Although there are many rare cards given by Haima, for Li Youfeng, who has already unlocked the shackles of his deck, there are actually not many useful cards at all. In exchange for the opportunity to be lazy, such a deal is simply not worth it for a lazy person like him. Alright, my deck has been reinforced. Youfeng, come and train with me. With your help, I can definitely win the national championship. The day of the Sakura Country Duel Monster National Competition is coming soon, and after a series of special training by Li Youfeng, the strength of 16 Knight Sun has also significantly improved. Although in Li Youfeng's view, there is still a big gap between the strength of 16 Knight Sun and the level of the national competition, Li Youfeng inferred based on his original World's National Competition, after receiving a series of rare cards provided by the President of Haima, she almost advanced in this preliminary round with a casual killing posture. Under the intentional or unintentional packaging of the 16 Knights Foundation, she made her debut as a duel idol and also gained great popularity. Due to the fact that 16 Knight Sun used a monster card from the Plant Clan, some of the participating duelers even gave her the title of Princess of Flowers in private. More importantly, under the coquettishness and playfulness of 16 Knight Sun, Li Youfeng was extremely helpless and also participated in this national competition. Seeing Li Youfeng easily break through the qualifying rounds as expected, 16 Knight Sun has even begun to plan the next stage of promotion. 16 Knight Sun, who comes from a wealthy family, is actually not short of money. Her parents originally only invested in her to open a card game store for the sake of supporting their daughter's interests. So the prize money of 3 million yuan is simply not attractive to her as a young princess in a consortium. 16 Knight Sun's ultimate idea is to use the opportunity of a national competition to completely establish a reputation for her card store and prove her abilities to her parents. However, in this so-called national qualifier, the most awkward one is none other than Li Youfeng. Give a simple example. Opposite. I summon my ace monster, the bipedal pterosaur, with a whiteboard attack of 1200 and a defense of 1000, to attack. Li Youfeng. I summon the orchid worm demon, attack 1500 and defend 1300, to attack, indicating that I will now launch the special orchid. What? There is a monster with such powerful attack power without equipped magic cards, I give up. Can you please let me finish speaking before surrendering? In this kind of competition, if you say the opponent's level is low, they can raise their hand and draw their own ace monster. But you have to say that he has a high level, and with equipment cards and attack power not exceeding 1500, which whiteboard ace monster do you want to cause trouble with? Sometimes Li Youfeng couldn't even imagine what kind of arrogant mentality his opponent was holding, so he would film something that had no effect or resistance on the field, and then look at himself provocatively. To be honest, if you say this situation is acceptable once or twice, but it's basically the same throughout the entire qualifying round. So for several consecutive days, Li Youfeng was so embarrassed that he almost buttoned a hole in the sole of his own shoe. So much so that in the final few games, when it was Li Youfeng's turn to play, he even lazily said more. He expressionlessly took a random insect magic card from his hand and took it to the electronic instrument. Then, amidst the opponent's surprised and bitter surrender, he received a wave of words like "so strong" and "so strong," before walking down from the duel table expressionlessly. It's quite speechless. What's even more headache-inducing is that some wealthy ladies from certain financial conglomerates are still unconscious, so proud that they almost raise their noses to the sky. And the unscrupulous boss also took advantage of this opportunity to promote to the people around him. He is a special employee of our Lavender card game store. Our store is located at XX Street, and there has been a discount activity recently. The most important thing is that the cards sold in our game store have a very high rate of rare cards. We welcome everyone to come and purchase and so on. Then her provocative actions undoubtedly greatly increased Li Youfeng's workload, leading to a significant reduction in his time to relax. After several days of rookies pecking at each other, the national competition is finally coming to an end, which is undoubtedly good news for Li Youfeng. After all, for Li Youfeng, who has won 5 consecutive world championships in the future world, such a duel is almost like mental devastation. Repeating such a duel for a long time makes Li Youfeng feel like he is on the brink of mental breakdown. If it weren't for the card pendant on his chest unlocking some cards again, Li Youfeng wouldn't even be able to guarantee that he can persist. Unlike the original work, due to Li Youfeng's early encounter with the dinosaur Longqi, the candidate for the national championship became his battle against the insect moth. After being reinforced by the card team, the 16-night fumigation was defeated by the insect feather moth and stopped in the semi-finals of the preliminary contest. However, Li Youfeng roast at the 16-night fumigation unexpectedly met in the city when it was in the semi-finals of the semi-finals. After the city was defeated cleanly, it led to the final stop in the city. When Li Youfeng thought about how he had managed to reach the quarterfinals after receiving special training from Mudo Shuangliu in the city, he couldn't help but think of a bunch of flaws in his mind. What kind of ghost is special training shuffling? Are you changing the card's location? What's the difference between a long day's practice of shuffling and a game without shuffling? What did the president say about the 3 blue-eyed white dragons in his hand? Do true duels never disdain shuffling? As for the on-site printing card on the floor, this Nima is already an out-of-the-game move. Lying trough. I can't think anymore, otherwise I'm afraid I'll really collapse. Forcefully suppressing his wild thoughts, Li Youfeng stood on the game console and tried to force himself to calm down. After a brief introduction by the MC, Li Youfeng and the insect moth were both transported to the top of the duel field while standing on the duel instrument. Youfeng, come on. Victory is right in front of you, you want to avenge me. Upon seeing Li Youfeng appear, 16-Night Sun immediately exclaimed with excitement. Coupled with her idol status as the Princess of Flowers, she immediately attracted a large part of the audience to stand on her side. Jia Jia. It seems that you are quite popular, Insect Feather Moth let out a sinister laugh. I heard that you used despicable means to defeat the Haima Seat Man, and you also have a 4th blue-eyed white dragon card, but I don't know if it's true. For the provocation of the Insect Feather Moth, expressionless Li Youfeng furrowed his eyebrows slightly. He had originally planned to take out the white dragon deck and immediately stopped his hand at his waist, wanting to hear what else this guy could say. What's wrong? Did I get it right, so I feel a bit guilty? The unconscious insect moth thought that Li Youfeng was afraid, so it became even more reckless. With just your strength, how can you possibly control the legendary blue-eyed white dragon? Before you summon the blue-eyed white dragon, my insect army will devour you without leaving any residue. So, are you ready to die? Jia Jia dot. Yaliya Dazai dot. Li Youfeng took out another set of spare cards from the card holder at his waist and placed them on the dual instrument. He slightly turned his body to one side and extended his left index finger, imitating the movements of the owner of the invincible platinum star. Is your level enough for me to clean up with a blue-eyed white dragon? Do you have that qualification? I have decided not to waste my time with you. I'm going to kill you. What? Huh, you want to second me? It seemed like you heard something ridiculous, and the insect moth immediately covered its stomach and laughed. You idiot must be dreaming, I'm an insect moth. Do you want to second me? Have you woken up yet? I want to see what kind of skills you have, second me. Duel. X2 inch number 34, attack first, I have taken it. Draw a card number 34, the insect moth, with a sinister smile on its face, took the lead in launching an attack. Jie, Youfeng. You're really unfortunate. The first card made me draw the ace monster. I summoned the severed catalpa type insect, attack power 1700, defense power 1000, to attack. Next, I will activate the equipment magic card, gun, and armor to equip the heartbroken worm, increasing its attack by 700 points. Broken head catalpa type insect, attack power 1700-2400, I ambush a card, the turn is over. Jie, how about Youfeng? This is my strongest combo. At this moment, my catalpa-shaped insect's attack power can even be compared to the legendary true red-eyed black dragon, which is on par with the blue-eyed white dragon. Faced with such a powerful attack power, how can you flash kill me? Chapter 7. Bitter Choices. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Li Youfeng's silent expression, the insect moth once again chuckled inwardly. However, what he didn't know was that participating in this low-level and extremely awkward duel competition for a long time had already compressed Li Youfeng's spirit to the limit. For Li Youfeng, who has read the original work of Game King, Insect Feather Moth has always been one of his most disliked characters. Not only does he enjoy playing cards, but he also likes to cause trouble. Although the plot of being whipped by Wang Like is a bit violent, when you look back, this is actually what he brought for himself. Due to his unwillingness to easily change the historical plot of the original work, Li Youfeng himself has always tried to maintain a low-key attitude towards life. However, this cannot be explained as anyone can step on his head. Combined with the iconic piercing and sharp laughter of insect moths, these factors undoubtedly became the last straw that crushed his rationality. Skill, Magic Trap Affinity activated. This session can be used 0 times, my turn, draw. Like a broken robot, Li Youfeng punched out the 10,000-year ban card he had just drawn without even looking at it. I activate the bitter selection of magic cards, select 5 monster cards from my deck, and let the opponent choose one to add to my hand, while throwing the remaining cards into the graveyard. I choose White Bone Lady, White Bone Princess, White Bone Prince, White Bone Nightmare, and White Bone Roast Potato King. Now it's your turn to choose one. Seeing Li Youfeng take the initiative to send his monster to the cemetery, the insect moth immediately laughed and said, you idiot, how could you activate such a side effect magic card? Are you foolish? If you want to commit suicide, you can definitely give up on the spot. Am I an idiot? What ignorance! Faced with the mockery of insect moths, Li Youfeng was really too lazy to argue with him anymore. You should know that in the duel environment of later generations, this bitter choice has never come out since entering the small black room. Just like the name of this card, the bitter choice, do you think it really makes the people using this card bitter? No, if you really think so, it's a big mistake. As its name suggests, its hidden true meaning is actually conveying a simple and easy to understand sentence to your opponent. How do you want to die? Choose for yourself. The insect feather moth frantically jumping disco on the edge of the cliff in the abyss certainly did not understand the hidden meaning represented by this card. Based on the principle of minimum attack power, he reached out and pointed to a card in Li Youfeng's hand. I choose the White Bone Prince, attack 0, defense 0, throw your other 4 cards to the cemetery, jia. Activate the special effect of White Bone Roast Potato King. Before the insect moth could finish laughing, Li Youfeng continued his offensive. When this card is sent to the graveyard, it can be activated. Add 2 monster cards from the deck to your hand and discard 1. Activate the Angel's Charity, draw 3 cards from the deck and discard 2 at the same time. Activate the special effect of White Bone Prince. When this card is sent to the graveyard, it can send 1 white bone and 1 white bone lady from the hand and deck to the graveyard. I usually summon the White Bone Princess from my hand card, attack power 1600, defense power 0. When this card is successfully summoned, I can send a White Bone Prince from the deck to the graveyard. The special effect of the White Bone Prince is that when this card enters the cemetery, 1 white bone from the hand and 1 white bone from the deck, as well as 1 white bone lady, are sent to the cemetery. The special effect of the White Bone Princess is activated. This card can be released from the hand or field and sent to the graveyard until the end of this turn. The attack and defense of all monsters on both sides fields will decrease by 300 points of the card's star rating at the same time. The attack power of the guillotine-type insect is 2400-1200. What? It's amazing that you can directly reduce your attack power by 1200 points. How could that be? How could you have cards with such terrifying effects? Aren't these cards all miscellaneous fish monsters? Due to Li Youfeng's actions being too shocking for the duelers of this era, when he activated this series of effects, nearly 1 million spectators in the entire arena were stunned. As for the insect moth, he had never seen such a formation before and was already sweating nervously. I activate the second effect of the White Bone Prince in the cemetery, which can summon a special White Bone King from the deck except for this card and 2 cards with White Bone characters in the cemetery. Based on this effect, I will exclude the White Bone Prince and the 2 White Bone Ladies, respond to my call, and come here. White Bone King. Accompanied by Li Youfeng's words, a skeleton wearing a purple robe appeared out of thin air on the field. White Bone King, attack 0, defense 0. Special summon. White Bone King. After hearing the special call, the insect feather moth was instinctively startled. However, when he saw the attacking power of the White Bone King clearly, the insect feather moth wiped the sweat on its face with lingering fear and comforted itself. Hee, Youfeng, don't scare people anymore. You've spent so much effort summoning this garbage monster with 0 attack power. Are you trying to commit suicide? Activate the special effect of the White Bone King. With an extremely indifferent glance at the insect feather moth, Li Youfeng resumed his storytelling. The original attack power of this card is the number of white bones in my graveyard multiplied by 1000 points. There are now 10 cards with white bone characters in my graveyard, so the attack power of the White Bone King is 10,000 points. The attack power of the White Bone King is 10,000. Seeing the small skeleton, which was originally powerless, transform into a huge creature with open teeth and claws in an instant, the insect moth, who had already been completely frightened, opened its mouth wide. Not only that, but even the audience at the duel venue were stunned. Even 16 Knight Sun, who has always had a carefree personality, widened her eyes and froze in place. However, what Li Youfeng didn't know was that not only were the audience present stunned, but even the Haima's people sitting in front of the TV, as well as Wooden Games and others, stood still because of Li Youfeng's series of actions. Surprisingly, it has an attack power of 10,000 points. It's so strong, Youfeng Jun. You're really too strong. Have you seen the other me? Youfeng Jun even summoned a monster with an attack power of 10,000 points. Ah! Ibwa. I can see very clearly. My previous guess was correct. Youfeng is indeed a dueler with strong power. I'm not dreaming, am I? A 10,000 point attack power. Oh my god, against opponents like Youfeng, insect feather moth is really pitiful. But what's worth being happy about is that I'm not fighting Youfeng, hee. Upon hearing the schadenfreude within the city, chicken sauce hit him directly on the head with a knife. I have no ambition. In the city, you are at least my disciple. How could you say such shameful words? You should face difficulties, otherwise you will never become a powerful dueler like Youfeng. Ah, I know the old man, don't hit me on the head. At the national competition duel venue. It's okay, I still have a trap card. If he can't get through it, he definitely can't get through it. As long as he can make it through this round, I'll definitely have a chance to counterattack. Glancing at the cover card left on his field earlier, the restless heart of the insect moth finally found some comfort. However, before he could recover, Li Youfeng's nightmare-like voice came again. It's not over yet. Li Youfeng waved his hand and continued, I discarded a white bone nightmare from my hand and specially summoned an excluded white bone lady. At this point, the attack power of the white bone king is already 11,000 points, so we won't describe it anymore. White bone lady's special effect is activated. When this card is present, our undead monsters below level 3 will not be destroyed in battle, and will not be affected by the effects of trap cards and magic cards. Nanny. Exclusion Zone Special Summoning. Not affected by magic and trap card effects. Upon hearing the special effect launched by Lady Whitebones, the insect feather moth had completely numbed. We're in battle. Whitebone King, suck that bug's face hard on me. Roar. As if sensing the owner's anger, the Whitebone King let out a loud shout and flew directly towards the severed catalpa-shaped insect. Faced with the Whitebone King with 11,000 attack points and the pitiful 1,200 attack points of the broken-headed sorrow worm, at this moment, it only wants to raise its head and howl loudly. You really shouldn't come over. Pop. A loud and powerful pussy fiercely struck the head of the guillotine beetle, and the already inconspicuous head couldn't withstand the power of the Whitebone King at this moment. It was directly slapped into pieces by the Whitebone King's skeletal hand. It can be imagined how large the psychological shadow area of this card would be if there were monster spirits present. Brokeback-type beetle. Leave a line in your life, so we can see each other better in the future. Nima is not the one I provoked you to. Why are you hitting me so hard? Insect Feather Moth 2000 LP0. Quiet, the whole place is as quiet as death. So strong. Too strong. How did he do it? I feel like Li Youfeng and I are not playing the same game at all. This is the real dueler. Li Youfeng. Champion. With the electronic sound system used to determine the winner, the entire venue erupted with enthusiastic cheers. Youfeng. You're really, really strong. Staring intently at Li Youfeng standing under the spotlight receiving cheers and praise from the crowd, 16 Night Sun remained in place for a moment. Her crystal-like eyes couldn't help but ooze tears, her face flushed, and her heart pounded like a deer. Oh, I hate it. How could Youfeng be so handsome? Wow, what am I thinking? No, I'm his boss. Even if we want to date, he has to speak up first. Oh no, I used to hit him before. He wouldn't think I was a pretty violent girl, would he? Oh no, Youfeng is now famous. If he resigns and doesn't do it, what excuse should I use to keep him? I can't just apply directly, can I? Oh, I'm so embarrassed, stupid, annoying. Why did I drag him to participate in the national competition? What stupid thing did I do? Just as Sun was daydreaming on the 16th night, Li Youfeng's gaming platform slowly landed in the center of the duel arena. He glanced at the insect feather moth that had fainted on the spot due to excessive stimulation. Li Youfeng said that the bear child should tidy up early, otherwise he would sooner or later demolish your house. Youfeng boy, you are a truly powerful dueler. Your magnificent dueling skills are truly exciting, congratulations. You are a true national champion. At some point, Pegasus quietly appeared behind Li Youfeng, speaking in his extremely distinctive Japanese English. Pegasus. Suddenly turning his head, Li Youfeng's pupils shrank. Although Pegasus was wearing a warm smile at the moment, this smile was not a friendly signal for Li Youfeng, who was familiar with the plot of Game King. As a major boss in the early days of Game King, Pegasus is now dominated by dark forces, and for Millennium I, who has perspective ability, this ability is almost like Li Youfeng, who likes to play underworld cards in Tianka at this stage. Pegasus. Are you playing cards? I'm sorry, I can see what you're playing. Hand, that's even more embarrassing. I even know what the next card you draw in your hand is, so how do you play this card? This is your personal honor trophy, and the prize money for the national championship will also be credited to your participating account after the conference ends. Youfeng boy, I am extremely interested in your tactical skills. As the pioneer of dueling monsters, this is the first time I have met an imaginative dueler like you, perfect, powerful. This is the best praise I can think of. Besides your personal trophy, I have a small gift to give to you privately. I hope you can accept it. Mr. Pegasus, you're so polite. Seeing a square white gift box in addition to the trophy, Li Youfeng carefully took it and secretly gave himself a mouth. It was hard to imagine how he had forgotten about this gentleman. Looking at the white gift box in his hand with some frustration, Li Youfeng felt extremely hot. As someone familiar with the original plot, he naturally knew what was inside. When he thought that his card style was extremely opposed to the current Pegasus, his stomach felt indescribable soreness for no reason. You should know that playing cards with this master is not just about losing, it's not that simple. Those who have watched Game King know very well that dark games can really cause lives. Previously, he had died of impulsiveness once, and the pain of piercing his heart with a sharp military knife still made Li Youfeng feel a faint palpitations. Although Li Youfeng did not regret his decision, he did not want to sacrifice his life for playing cards at a young age. Alright, Youfeng boy, next is your personal time, enjoy the praise you deserve. After speaking these words, Pegasus turned around and walked towards the exit of the venue. The corner of his mouth slightly raised, and his eyes, which were covered by his long hair, shimmered with golden light. Forget it, let's take a closer look. Since he has already decided to hit me, I can't just sit idly by like this. Until he couldn't see the figure of Pegasus, Li Youfeng finally put away his false smile. Youfeng. You're really amazing. Just as Li Youfeng was pondering his next steps to protect himself, a familiar figure rushed straight behind him, and the familiar fragrance rushed into his nose, instantly soothing his tense spirit. If there was only one flaw, the cost of the newcomer was too meager, even causing a slight pain in his back. Boss, I won. Here is the championship trophy from the national competition, I'm giving it to you. Taking the trophy handed over by Li Youfeng, 16 Knight Sun felt a burst of embarrassment while feeling extremely happy. Hee, I knew you could do it. Let's go, I'll take you to a barbecue feast. Oh ho. It's a barbecue feast, so I'm not polite. Well, don't be polite to me. Your boss, I'm not short of money. Chapter 8. Unexpectedly unfolds. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Haima Group Headquarters Building. You upright arrow maple downright arrow. How much strength do you still hide? Didn't you even take it seriously when you dueled with me watching the replay of Li Youfeng's flash killing of insects and moths over and over again? The anger in the heart of the Haima's person was unimaginable, especially with a strong sense of powerlessness mixed in with this anger. Such pain almost tore apart his proud self-esteem. The white-boned king with an attack power of 10,000 points far exceeds the power of the blue-eyed white dragon. Traps and magic cards cannot be stopped yet. Youfeng, how much more are you hiding and how strong is your true strength? Blue-eyed white dragon. Why do you all like to compare with me? Bullying honest dragon. Thinking of Li Youfeng's relaxed and comfortable attitude during the duel with him, the Haima's person further affirmed his previous conjecture. "Brother, can I come in?" "Gui Ping. Come on in." With the permission of the Haima's people, Haima Gui Ping walked in with a few documents. "Brother, I have already contacted our subsidiary in Huaxia, and these are the information they have sent over." "Hey, is there any news so soon? Let me take a look quickly." When he reached out and took the materials brought by Gui Ping, Haima Li's eyes flashed with excitement. If Li Youfeng saw these documents, he would be unable to roast, because all the materials on these documents were personal information about him. Huaxia has no information about Li Youfeng, and even he has never participated in any activities related to dueling monsters. How could this be? "Brother, in fact, that's the case." Haima Guiping's face was also very solemn. Did it appear out of thin air? Slowly placing the files on the desk, the Haima's man stared fixedly at the white-boned king with an attack power of 10,000 on the wall screen. Whether he came from China or appeared out of thin air, the only thing that can be certain is that he is a powerful dueler and also the opponent I must defeat. "Gui Ping, I need to leave for a while recently. I have to rely entirely on you to supervise the development department in developing new cards. The new cards are my hope of defeating Youfeng, and all of this depends on you. Don't worry, brother. Leave everything to me. Once the development department has new achievements, I will contact you immediately." The next evening. Lavender Card Store. The afterglow of the setting sun gently sprinkled on the streets of Tongshai. As the street lights lit up, pedestrians on the road gradually became sparse. After a busy day, Li Youfeng took back the billboards in front of the store one by one and turned the open sign on the door frame into a close. However, Li Youfeng did not expect that just as he was about to return to the store, two familiar figures appeared in front of him panting. "Game, within the city. Why did you two come?" "It's not good, Youfeng Jun. Grandpa has an accident." "What?" Upon hearing the words of Wooden Games, Li Youfeng was momentarily confused. "Youfeng, Game and I are here to ask for your help. Please help us. Please. Don't panic, you two. Let's talk slowly first." Suddenly realizing that the plot of Game King seemed to be developing in a direction he didn't know, Li Youfeng quickly invited Wu Ting Game and the two people in the city into the card store. "This is Youfeng." Seeing Mudo Games feeling a bit embarrassed to speak up, the city quickly rushed to say, "Last night Pegasus attacked us, and the grandfather of the game was taken by that bastard." Ah! Damn it, what I said may not be clear enough. Although it's hard to believe, what I want to express is that the soul of chicken sauce was captured by Pegasus. Can you understand what I mean? Fearing that Li Youfeng wouldn't believe what was said within the city, Xiaobiao immediately spoke up and explained, "Youfeng, everything that was said within the city is true. Last night, Pegasus sent me a video, and when we opened it, Pegasus directly started a dark game with me. It was all my own use that led to the soul of chicken sauce being abducted by Pegasus." "What? Grandpa Shuangliu's soul has been abducted by Pegasus. How could this be? Does Pegasus still have magic?" 16 Night Sun, who had just finished dinner in the kitchen, happened to hear what Xiaobiao was saying. She quickly walked over and asked nervously, "How is Grandpa Shuangliu doing now?" "Chicken sauce has been sent to the hospital, but he has never been able to wake up. Doctors cannot determine the cause, and now he can only rely on basic medical methods to maintain his life." After saying these words, a painful expression appeared on Xiaobiao's face. After listening to these words, 16 Night Sun looked at Li Youfeng with a worried expression and hesitated to speak. "Youfeng, Grandpa Shuangliu." "Boss, you don't have to say it, I understand it all." With a gentle smile from 16 Night Sun, Li Youfeng's eyes also flashed with a hint of anger. Li Youfeng, who had slightly changed the plot, thought that Pegasus would change his target, but he didn't expect that he would still take action against the Wooden Game. Looking at the Millennium building block hanging on Xiaobiao's chest, Li Youfeng suddenly realized that Pegasus and Wooden Game are both owners of Millennium artifacts, and there seems to be little room for reconciliation between them. As a symbol of the Dark Game, it can be said that the conflict between the two is about to erupt sooner or later. Coupled with Pegasus giving him an invitation card and dual gloves, it indicates that he cannot escape no matter what. After solving the game of Muto, his next goal is definitely himself. In terms of public opinion, Pegasus will not let himself go. In terms of private opinion, the reason why he was able to activate the hidden function of the card pendant is still due to the blue-eyed white dragon collected in chicken sauce. Therefore, both public and private, as well as Li Youfeng, can no longer feel at ease and stay out of the situation. Thinking of this, Li Youfeng felt a rare anger. I act a bit low-key, so you think I'm a soft persimmon, right? Pegasus, right. Watching cards, right. I don't hide from you because I'm afraid of you, but because I don't want to cause unnecessary trouble. If my concession gave you the courage to bully me, then I can only make you pay the price for your arrogance. Thinking of this, Li Youfeng's mind moved and he directly opened the attribute painting frame that only he could see. Due to winning the national competition championship, his attribute painting frame also underwent some changes. Name: Li Youfeng. Level 2 skills. Magic Trap Affinity, note. Limited to 3 per game, high star start, low star start ties. Atro Worm, Vampire Miss, Blue-Eyed White Dragon unlocking. Some universal magic traps and binding monster core monster cards of the same race. After examining his existing inventory of cards, Li Youfeng gradually gained confidence in his heart. Looking back at Wooden Games, Li Youfeng asked, "Games, what do you plan to do now?" "It's like this." Xiaobiao took out his dual gloves and 2 star pieces. "There will be a cruise ship heading to the Dual Kingdom tonight, and the soul of chicken sauce will be imprisoned by Pegasus. Is it because of my appearance that the Dueling Kingdom has advanced?" Upon hearing this news, Li Youfeng was also slightly taken aback. "Xiao Sun." "Ah. Yes." Upon hearing Li Youfeng affectionately call out to her, a blush of embarrassment instantly appeared on 16 Knight Sun's face. "I want to go with the game team to save Grandpa, and our card store will be relying on you during this time." Youfeng. 16 Knight Sun lowered her head slightly. "Grandpa Shuangliu is kind to me, and I want to go with you." "No way." Leaving aside the fact that I am not even confident in winning the King of Peers, is it not a safe way to give away someone with a card-playing skill like 16 Knight Sun? After thinking of a bad reason, Li Youfeng smiled and said, "Our card store has just entered the right track. If it stops operating now, all your previous efforts will be in vain. Moreover, Grandpa Shuangliu also needs someone to take care of him. I remember you once told me that your 16 Knights Foundation operates medical institutions, so you can stay and we can rest assured to rescue chicken sauce." "Okay, then." Looking at Li Youfeng, who was serious, 16 Knight Sun slowly showed a reluctant smile. "Youfeng, when you go to save Grandpa Shuangliu this time, you must pay attention to your safety. This card store can't be without you, I will always be waiting for you." "Ah, don't worry, I will be careful." Farewell to 16 Knight Sun, Li Youfeng, Wooten Gaming, and the 3 people in the city rushed towards the dock of Tong Shiye without hesitation. 16 Knight Sun, on the other hand, stated that he would place Wooting Shuangliu in his own group's sanatorium and take care of him along with Apricot and Honda. What changed from the original work is that when Li Youfeng opened the gift box given by Pegasus, he found that there were actually 2 dual gloves and 4 star blades inside. However, it was precisely because of this that the city was not kicked off the cruise ship like in the original work. Li Youfeng, who was originally somewhat puzzled, suddenly remembered that during this period, Pegasus seemed to have also had a black hand on the Haima Entertainment Group. He immediately realized that this glove and 2 star pieces were probably prepared for 16 Knight Sun, and their purpose was simply as obvious as ever. Pegasus, your dark personality is a bit crazy. You dare to touch the people around me. Wait, bet on your smile for the rest of your life, I will definitely give you a big surprise. After boarding the cruise ship, the duelers who came to participate in the Dueling Kingdom competition were immediately frightened and gave way when they saw the trio led by Youfeng. There's no way, it's just that the white-boned king with 10,000 points of attack power is too terrifying. It not only slapped the insect moths into sand coins, but also scattered the already small courage of these dragon-set duelers. Hello Mr. Youfeng. Just as Youfeng and the others had just stepped onto the deck, a black-clad bodyguard from the ship approached. Mr. Pegasus has specially arranged a first-class suite for you, who has won the national championship. Please come with me. Oh no. I didn't expect the national champion to receive such treatment. Youfeng, now we have your light on us. As soon as he heard that there was no need to sleep on the deck, the city immediately burst into joy. Well, taking advantage of this opportunity, we can adjust the deck in the room. It should be said that it's not bad for the gentle little watch. In order to save face within the city, I wanted to send cards in the name of adjusting the deck. Could you please lead the way? When he thought of this classic section in the original work, Youfeng was certainly pleased to see it come to fruition. He glanced at the insect feather moth, which had been huddled in a corner and never dared to look at him, and immediately sneered in his heart. It seems that slap has caused a great psychological shadow on this poor bear child. It probably won't take 10.5 days to recover. Wow, it really deserves to be a first-class cabin. This sofa is so comfortable to sit on. He sat down on the sofa and picked up an apple to nibble on. This fruit is also very delicious, Youfeng. Thank you very much this time. City Lord, don't just focus on eating. We need to hurry up and organize our decks. Putting down his backpack, Mudo Game drew a rare card with special effects from the deck. Youfeng took the opportunity to glance at it, and as expected, the card given by Mudo Game was truly a magician of time. City Lord, the magician of this time has an extremely special effect, and I believe you will definitely need it in the future. Looking at Xiaobiao's harmless expression, Youfeng's lips twitched slightly. Most people who have read the original work understand that it is precisely because of this card that the road to gambling decks in the city has been completely opened. Ruin Fa Gu, the legendary gambling god in the gaming world, started with this small card. It has to be said that the card sent by Xiaobiao may seem impressive, but in reality, it's a thick-faced card with a dark heart. If you don't believe it, take a look at how the duel with Wang Yang in the city ended up losing. The magician who activated time, oh yes, succeeded. Sorry, within the city, after 1,000 years, my black magician has evolved into the great sage in black. I'll ask you, who among the audience who saw this scene didn't just kneel on the ground and use their toes to snap out a 666? My mother asked me why I was kneeling on the ground watching Game King, and I replied that Xiaobiao was too cunning. I dug the pit in the city more than 20 episodes in advance. Invisibly dig a pit, regardless of the enemy or us. Trapped in all 3 realms, who dares to provoke me? This is the strength of Xiaobiao. Seeing Xiaobiao's words of friendship and bonds deceiving the city and thankfully adding this card to his deck, Youfeng couldn't help but feel a black line. No, it's okay if I don't see it, but since I've encountered it, I can't just watch the city walk on a path of no return like this. Thinking of the card that was about to be acquired within the city in the plot, Youfeng immediately thought of a rare card that is extremely suitable for the city at this stage. This card, combined with the game rules of the Dueling Kingdom, can be said to be able to defeat a considerable number of opponents once mastered. Its strength can even be compared to that of a king who currently does not have any decent magic cards. Chapter 9. The Kingdom of Mouthbeard. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Inside the city, I also have a card here to give to you. In order to conceal his secret of having storage space, Li Youfeng pretended to take out a card from his waist pocket and placed it on the table. True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon, Attack 2800, Defense 2400. In Dueling Master, this card is translated as True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon, and there is also a Chinese translation of the name True Red-Eyed Dark Steel Dragon. What is this? It's so beautiful, such a powerful card. Seeing the card placed on the table, both the city and Mudo Games exclaimed in amazement. Do you really want to give me this precious card? I'm not dreaming, am I? Compared to Xiaobiao, seeing this card made the city feel a bit agitated and incoherent. That's right, within the city, you're not dreaming. Take it. Staring blankly at Li Youfeng's sincere expression, the city's interior suddenly trembled with excitement. No. I can't accept it. What's going on inside the city? Why are you saying such things? Don't you like this card? After closing my eyes and shaking my head fiercely, the city clenched its fist and continued with great reluctance. I fell in love with this card the first time I saw it, but now I don't have the ability to control the True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon. Holding this card in my hand will only make it ashamed. Seeing such a realization in the current city, Li Youfeng couldn't help but secretly sigh in his heart. He truly deserves to be the man who forcefully slaughtered the gods with a mortal body. There is definitely a reason why the city can eventually become a first-class dueler. You're wrong within the city. In order to collect this card within the city, Li Youfeng directly activated the mouth cannon mode. This True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon is not only my heartfelt wish, but also a symbol of our friendship and bonds. You have great potential, and I believe that in the future, you will grow into an excellent dueler. And this True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon will become your most loyal companion and witness on your journey of growth. This card will become a refuge for your soul, it will help you and grow with you along the way. My only hope is that you will not desecrate our friendship, let alone do anything that disappoints the True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon. Thinking that the city may be controlled by a mentally disabled child in the future, Li Youfeng also gave the former a preventive shot in advance. Coupled with the strength of the city itself, Li Youfeng believes that in the near future, this card may even be nurtured by his indomitable fighting spirit as a dual spirit. Youfeng. He wiped away the tears that oozed from the corner of his eyes. The city carefully held the True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon in his hand, as if taking an oath. The city stared at the card in his hand with a firm expression and said, I swear, even if I sacrifice my own life, I will never violate our friendship, let alone do anything that would offend the True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon. Great, City Lord. With the help of this card, I believe you will definitely achieve a good result in this game. Ah, I'll take your good words for the game. To be honest, I can't help but find someone to witness the powerful power of the True Red-Eyed Dark Iron Dragon. And now I can assert that with this card, I even dare to compete with that bastard's blue-eyed white dragon from the front. Blue-eyed white dragon. Nima Laozi lies innocently with his gun again. Game, I also have a card to give to you. Ah. Do you even have me? Well, this is the card, the Black Magic Wand, Attack Power 1600, Defense Power 100. Seeing this card placed by Li Youfeng on the table, Wooden Games was immediately attracted to it. This card. Another me, have you seen it? Ah, Ibwa. This card is really powerful, and its special effects perfectly match our existing deck tactics. It can be said that this card is just like it was tailor-made for us. How about it? Games, as a symbol of our friendship and bonds, do you still like this card? Seeing the undisguised excited expression on Wu Ting's face, Li Youfeng's heart was also filled with pride. As an advanced card, the Black Magic Wand with the ability to retrieve cards, jump graves, and other abilities can be said to be a must-have even in future duel environments. Even in some specialized decks, it is not an exaggeration to have this card reach 3. It is imaginable how powerful it would be if it were to fall into the hands of Wang Yan in the current duel environment. I really like it. Xiaobiao nodded fiercely and said happily, Youfeng Jun, I have received your kindness. As a symbol of friendship, I will cherish this card immensely. Alright, if you're grateful, don't say so much. I just heard from the bodyguards on this ship that we can arrive at the Dueling Kingdom tomorrow morning, and the real battle is still waiting for us. We should seize the time to adjust our decks and welcome tomorrow's game with the strongest posture. Ah, what Youfeng said is right. This really red-eyed dark iron dragon is really amazing. I think my deck should be rebuilt with it as the core. Hehe, the effect of this black magic wand is also very powerful. With its help, some of my tactics can also be greatly expanded. I will adjust my deck now. Seeing the city and the game getting busy, Li Youfeng's heart also secretly showed a father-like smile. For the entire storyline of the Mudo game, as the protagonist, he is the true son of destiny. Although he doesn't know how big a butterfly he has flipped, it is always right to establish a good relationship with the protagonist team in advance. Besides, when the sky collapses, there will be a high support. The stronger the protagonist group, the safer they will be, right? Do you see in a certain theatrical version that a bare child who has not been beaten by society, just because he hit Xiaobiao, ended up infuriating Wang Yang, who had already returned to the underworld, and went berserk on the spot. The consequences, tisk tsk, are unbearable. Wang Yang. How dare you hit my Aibwa? Jesus couldn't keep you, I said it. The night passed quickly, and after building their own deck, the three people living in the luxurious first-class cabin also had a good night's sleep. The next morning, the cruise ship arrived as scheduled on the private island of Pegasus, also known as the Dueling Kingdom. The only thing that surprised Li Youfeng was that even though they had already discussed it, Xingzi and Honda still managed to sneak into this island, just like in the original work. Previously, I promised to take care of Chicken Sauce's body, but your two actions of talking and doing one thing at a time make Chicken Sauce's love for you so unbearable. Fortunately, I was clever enough to leave 16 Knights Sun at home beforehand. Otherwise, what would you do if you let the soulless chicken sauce become a vegetable? Do you really think that vegetarians don't have to eat, drink, or have a salad? Chicken sauce. You two unlucky kids are so filial to me. Without any further surprises, after a brief opening speech by Pegasus, the Battle of the Dueling Kingdom chapter officially began. As the earliest chicken-eating game in the history of anime, Li Youfeng couldn't help but call himself an expert in the series of bizarre actions by Pegasus. 40 contestants are gambling on this island, with no limit to the number of star tiles and a time limit of 48 hours. Those with 10 star tiles can enter the castle and participate in the semi-finals. It sounds quite high. But if you actually participate in it yourself, it's really full of problems. 2 days without providing daily necessities, perfunctory duel rules, unstable and unclear venue buff bonuses, and other reasons make the entire Duel Kingdom chapter stand out with 4 big characters, chaotic. However, the most frustrating thing for Li Youfeng was that the key to determining the outcome of the competition was not the dueler's technical ability and card strength, but rather his stubbornness. In short, in one sentence, whoever can talk nonsense will achieve the final victory. It's quite speechless. Although he had read the original work, Li Youfeng, who had little confidence in his beard, decided to let the 2 seniors around him try the water first. After all, with his help, the city and wooden games had also strengthened his deck. He also took this opportunity to learn the beard skills from the 2 giants systematically, so as not to encounter unexpected situations when it was his turn to appear and not be able to handle them. After joining Apricot and Honda, this 3-person team became a 5-person group. Fortunately, this is a dual monster, otherwise one could really go and fight against a certain king pesticide. The enemy has 30 seconds left to reach the battlefield. Li Youfeng, I have come to seek revenge on you. The humiliation you have caused me will be fully repaid today. If you have the courage, come with me. With a sudden shout, a young man dressed like a vegetable worm appeared in front of Li Youfeng and others. After speaking harshly, the young man quickly turned around and ran, making Li Youfeng, who had just picked up a stone from the ground, unable to help but call out his expert. Li Youfeng and others quickly caught up without much thought, and after passing through a jungle, two huge game battle arenas appeared in front of them. As a provocateur, the insect moth swiftly ran up to the top of one arena, while the other arena was the cannon fodder player from the original work, the dinosaur Ryusaki. It can be said that fate is so wonderful. These two players were killed by Li Youfeng in the national competition, which planted the seeds of hatred in their hearts. Unexpectedly, in the Duel Kingdom, these two cannon fodder players even united. Li Youfeng, I was careless and didn't dodge during the national competition, which gave you an opportunity to take advantage of it. This duel is on my home ground, and miracles won't happen again. Are you ready to suffer to death? Hey, Feather Moth, it's agreed that Youfeng is my prey. Please don't compete with me. With a blank expression, he glanced at the location of the duel arena where these two people were located, and as expected, it was the forest and wilderness terrain that were extremely advantageous to them. Looking at these two annoying flies, Li Youfeng, who was quite angry in his heart, immediately reached out and touched the card sleeve at his waist. However, before he could take out the card set, the insect moth and dinosaur Longqi, who were already on the duel ring, began to shout in panic. Wu-Ting game, I'll call you, do you dare to fight? Ha, you coward is not my opponent at all, but who made you and Youfeng come so close? You deserve such a fate. In the city, you fourth-rate dueler with a third-rate deck, do you have the courage to fight me? Little trash, I guess you dare not. Ha. X5 I'm hesitant. Yes. You read it right, just as Li Youfeng reached out to his waist, the insect moth and the dinosaur Longqi both pounced. Based on the principle that I am not embarrassed but others are embarrassed, insect feather moth and dinosaur Longqi do not feel anything wrong with their actions. They both show a selfless attitude, but they are very tacit and dare not say a provocative word to Li Youfeng. Insect feather moth, how dare you so profane the friendship between me and Youfeng? It's unforgivable. I can't spare you. After the Millennium Building block emitted a burst of light, an angry king appeared. Bet on the bond card between me and Youfeng, I will definitely defeat you. Dinosaur Longqi, how dare you look down on me? Today, let me show you how amazing I am in your city. Duel. X4 seeing angry Wang Yang and Cheng Nei each step onto the duel arena and engage in their respective battles, with a serious attitude of learning, Li Youfeng naturally began to observe their gameplay. Well, the way these two people play, does Nima have a damn way of playing? First of all, let's talk about Wang Yang's side. After the battle started, the insect feather moth first summoned the unicorn beetle, attack power of 1500 and defense power of 2000, and then used the advantage of the field to increase its attack power by 30%, making it a monster with an attack power of 1950. Wang Yang also did not hesitate, directly summoned the small horn demon, attack power of 1300, and then added a unicorn horn with an attack power of 700 to directly attack it. The result was good. Insect feather moth kept talking nonsense because my monster was in forest terrain, so I avoided magic and didn't eat equipment cards. Then, I killed the king-like monster with my backhand. Upon seeing this, Wang Yan clicked and directly started the silent defense and card drawing mode. Seeing this, Li Youfeng actually wanted to remind the insect feather moth that Wang Yan now has Exodia in his hands. Under the game rules that cannot directly attack players, are you fighting against Wang Yan to consume? Can you afford to fight? As expected, just as the insect feather moth was proud of summoning a large moth and also boasting about its ability to poison and reduce attack power, Wang Yan was too lazy to confront him. Without any hesitation, he gathered up the 5 sealed cards of Exodia and directly captured them on the control console. As a result, the insect moth became the first victim to be bombarded to the bone by an Egyptian mage since his debut. Chapter 10. Dueling from the Sea. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Turning around and looking at this side of the city, it's even more eye-catching. After this duel, Li Youfeng saw a surge of excitement in his stomach and a stunned expression on his face. How could a complete duel be expressed by just a lying trough? The whole duel was like this. I'm too lazy to calculate the attack power because it's meaningless. Dinosaur Ryusaki first summoned the Tyrannosaurus Rex, with an attack power of 1100, and upon seeing it, the city was overjoyed. With a big hand, he struck the Dragon God Warrior, with an attack power of 1500, and struck it with a single blow. Who knew that after killing Tyrannosaurus Rex, Dinosaur Ryusaki said that his mother was very angry because you killed him. I can summon the two-headed Dinosaur King, 1600 attack power, from the deck special. To be honest, Li Youfeng, who was watching the battle under the arena, burned his CPU in his mind and couldn't figure out where these two whiteboard cards looked like a mother-child relationship. In the blink of an eye, his divine dragon warrior was killed by the dinosaur Ryusaki. The city was no longer willing, so they casually hit the flame swordsman, with an attack power of 1800, and then received a legendary sword equipment card, with an attack power of 300, directly causing the flame swordsman's attack power to soar to 2100 points. According to common sense, such a whiteboard's attack power is not weak anymore, is it? After all, your two-headed dinosaur king with terrain advantage only has an attack power of 2080, and the flame swordsman here has an attack power of 2640 after adding terrain bonus. But who knew that Dinosaur Ryusaki was talking nonsense about the two-headed dinosaur king having wings to fly, and your flame swordsman couldn't fight it? Hey, are you angry or not? Then I saw the two-headed dinosaur king unleashing a whirlwind at the flame swordsman armed to his teeth, and the latter exploded in such an incredible way. Yes, you read it right. The two-headed dinosaur king with 2080 attack points easily defecated the flame swordsman with 2640 attack points. Flame swordsman. You died young. Sarira. Who can accept this Nima? What is the significance of the existence of attack power points? However, what almost made Li Youfeng vomit blood on the spot was that the city really accepted it like this. What's even more surprising is that when he arrived, he even said, "Zamada, I was careless." Li Youfeng wanted to ask more questions at that time, which part of it was that you were so careless about. What's even more infuriating is that even the damage assessment system in the battle arena recognized the words of Dinosaur Ryusaki, and it really passed like this. Just when Li Youfeng believed that the city would be temporarily put on passive defense due to the loss of the flame swordsman, who could have expected that he would raise his hand and shoot a monster hunter with an attack power of only 1500 points. He even said that the monster hunter was an expert in hunting dinosaurs, and with just one bow and arrow, he would explode the double-headed dinosaur king in mid-air. Li Youfeng. How come I don't know if this whiteboard card has the ability to manipulate things? Dinosaur Ryusaki, whose health value had significantly decreased, was also angry at this moment. He directly said, "You're quite capable." Next, I'm going to take it seriously, and then played his ace monster. The whiteboard is really red-eyed and black dragon. Yes, a dragon monster has been living in the dinosaur deck for a long time, and Dinosaur Ryusaki doesn't feel anything wrong at all. Seeing Dinosaur Ryusaki play his strongest ace, the city's inner power is no longer present. With a big wave of his hand, the true red-eyed dark iron dragon appears in a crushing posture on the duel arena. That's right, stop pretending. I have a showdown, this is my strongest ace monster. Without any suspense, he killed the true red-eyed black dragon of the dinosaur Longqi. Another special effect of the true red-eyed dark iron dragon was once again announced in the city. As the strongest dragon king of the Black Dragon clan, he can resurrect a dragon monster from the cemetery to his own field. Then, the true red-eyed black dragon of Dinosaur Ryusaki switched jobs without hesitation. True red-eyed black dragon. Hello big brother, I will be with you in the future. Seeing this behind the scenes, not only did Dinosaur Longqi kneel within the city on the spot, but even Li Youfeng below the duel arena followed in his footsteps and knelt together. After watching this shocking duel without taking his eyes off, Li Youfeng crouched on the ground with his head in his arms and fell into deep self-doubt. After all, I have been playing this card for so many years, how could I not know that it still has such amazing effects? As in the original work, due to the accidental discovery of the Time Magician in the city's deck before the game, Dinosaur Ryusaki, who was greedy for the Time Magician, set the rules for gambling cards before the game, and this true red-eyed black dragon naturally fell into the hands of the city. After handing over the card with a reluctant expression, Dinosaur Ryusaki looked at the city with a look that was so angry that he was about to burst into flames. He repeatedly stated that he had been ambushed by the city, and if he knew that there was this card in the city's deck, he wouldn't have even stepped forward to kill someone. Excited by the victory over the Dinosaur Longqi, he held Li Youfeng's hand tightly and announced loudly that the victory was thanks to the card Li Youfeng gave him. This is the power of friendship and fetters. Li Youfeng, who almost collapsed, kept roast in his heart. How did your mustache skill connect with the power of fetters? Is there a direct relationship of half an egg between these two? However, before Li Youfeng could reply, Wang Yang, who was standing beside him, spoke with great approval and said, being able to use the power of bonds so excellently, Lord in the city, you have really become stronger. Li Youfeng said that this sentence really sounds like a lying trough. After all, this word is broad and profound in Chinese culture, and can be used as a very admirable compliment. Don't think that when I say I'm lying down, I'm actually praising you. Seeing the two of them so happy and completely trapped in a state of autism, Li Youfeng really didn't know how to interject, so he had to try to maintain a smile as a sign of respect. He secretly opened his layout deck and repeatedly checked for any negligence, in order to prevent himself from being fatally hit by their stuttering tactics after confronting these two great gods. What a beautiful dragon! Besides the true red-eyed black dragon, it's the first time I've seen such a beautiful dragon that can rival the blue-eyed white dragon. Blue-eyed white dragon. So, why are you comparing it to me again? With a pleasant sound, a woman with long golden wavy hair and fashionable attire appeared in front of Li Youfeng and others, who had been entangled with the official CP Peacock dance in the city in the original work. After introducing each other, Peacock Dance looked at Li Youfeng with great interest and asked, so you are Li Youfeng, who defeated the Haima Seat Man and won the championship by defeating the insect feather moth in the Sakura Country national competition. I only heard of your name on the ship. It's really exciting to see you up close like this. Regarding the praise of Peacock Dance, Li Youfeng quickly replied with a resentful tone, no, it's just a stroke of luck. Hee, you're really humble. Humility. Li Youfeng said that I really haven't been humble, especially after watching the duel between these two great gods. Through these two duels, Li Youfeng stated that the most direct reason why President Haima couldn't defeat Wang Yang was that it was here. Throughout the history of Game King, how many times did the President and Muto games have a beard? Isn't this comparison obvious? Do you remember the sentence Wang Yang said when fighting against the 5 divine dragons? As long as you believe in the existence of the card, then this card must exist. Fangu players say they can't afford to be injured. After a round of pleasantries, Peacock Dance, who already had 6 stars, joined the team as well. Looking at her gentle and approachable appearance, Li Youfeng knew very well. If it weren't for the change in the plot that made her less confident, this woman might have already taken action within the city. In fact, it was indeed the case. Seeing the real red-eyed dark iron dragon in the city, Peacock Dance was truly stunned. As a second-rate dueler, she naturally understood the value of this card. However, after measuring her combat power, Peacock Dance immediately chose to hold back for a period of time. After all, she was not sure if there were any other hidden cards in the city, and the incident of a boat capsizing in the sewer was not her Peacock Dance's duel style. Time quickly arrived at noon, and due to the fear of Li Youfeng, the champion of the national competition, many lesser-known duelers dared not take the initiative to challenge him. This also resulted in Li Youfeng only having 2-star chips in his hands until now. Li Youfeng cooked delicious rice using local ingredients, and took out some pickled vegetables as side dishes from the backpack provided by 16 Knight Sun. After all, everyone came to rescue Mudo Shuangliu, and in a hurry, they didn't prepare so much. This was thanks to Li Youfeng's extra attention when he got off the ship and brought more ingredients. Otherwise, they might not even be able to eat rice. Pickled vegetables and rice. Alas, I really want to eat meat roast in the city while picking up the rice in my hand. That bastard Pegasus didn't even prepare food for us. How could he hold a duel contest like this? City Lord, please be content. Thanks to Youfeng Juan's preparation, otherwise we might not even be able to eat rice. Yeah, within the city, this pickled vegetables mixed with rice is actually quite delicious. Didn't you see those duelers passing by looking at us cooking with envy on their faces? For the words within the city, gentle Xiaobiao and Xingzi immediately refuted them. Well, I'm not saying that pickled vegetables and mixed rice are not delicious anymore. What's this taste? It smells so good. Holding his bowl, his nose in the city suddenly moved. This fragrance comes from over there, let's go and take a look. Before he could finish speaking, the city ran towards the seaside with an excited expression on its face. Sleeping in the trough, don't go inside the city. Looking at the agile pace inside the city, Li Youfeng said he couldn't afford to hurt himself. I already brought food with me, so why do you have to go and cause trouble? Within the city. Wait for us. Due to concerns about potential accidents in the city, Xiaobiao and others immediately chased after him. Seeing this, Li Youfeng knew that he really couldn't escape this time. Yes, due to his inability to adapt to the legendary beard style of play, Li Youfeng, who did not want his lifelong wisdom to be destroyed, expressed that he was really cowardly this time. Thinking that the original work small and medium-sized watch ultimately saved the double 6 chicken sauce, Li Youfeng's idea changed from initially taking action to watching. Anyway, what the protagonist group can do, why should I go out of the limelight and just spend my life as a game shop waiter? Isn't he popular? Why go to risk your life? When am I foolish? Following the crowd to the edge of the cliff near the sea, Li Youfeng, who had already caught a grilled sea fish and eaten half of it in the city, couldn't resist the temptation of the city. He picked up a grilled fish and started eating it, finishing his utensils. Li Youfeng, who had arrived late, had a black line on his face. Hey! You thieves, you stole my fish. At this moment, a man with a shiny black body and an explosive head covered in an unknown amount of hair gel climbed up from the cliff, holding several fresh sea fish wrapped in seaweed in his hand. What? This is the fish you caught. The city was stunned when it realized something was wrong. Only half of the fish's head was left before you spoke up. How can I return it to you? Wait a moment, there must be some misunderstanding here. Xiaobiao, who knew he was wrong, immediately jumped out to make amends. I recognize you. Your name is Kajiki Yuta, and you are just like the top 8 winners in the national competition, right? The same sentence as inside the city is unnecessary. Kajiki Yu sat down with a big laugh as he placed the fish in his hand next to the campfire. It was just a joke just now. Don't be polite, everyone please take a seat. In addition, I have some fish that I just caught here. Let's barbecue and eat together. Really? Great, thank you, Kajiki Jun. Wow, this fragrant grilled fish is really delicious now. Seeing his companions happily sitting around the campfire, Li Youfeng could only sigh and then sat down with them. Yo, Youfeng Jun, we're meeting again. Kajiki Yu gave a sinister smile as he looked at Li Youfeng sitting across from him. I still remember you eliminated me in the quarterfinals of the national competition. You didn't use all your strength to fight me, did you? You think I'm not as good as an insect moth, so isn't it worth summoning the Whitebone King? Wow, shouldn't you find fault with the game? Why are you getting at me? Li Youfeng kept a warm smile on his face when he secretly roast, where is this? I just thought that the card set was not good enough for you, and I was afraid that it would not work. Huh, is that so? Are you admitting that I am stronger than insect moths? Well, you can actually say that too. I'm very happy to receive your approval, what's wrong? Why don't we have some together? I casually handed a grilled fish to Li Youfeng, and Kajiki Yute's face was filled with an indescribable strong sense of war. No, I was already full just now. After a faint smile, Li Youfeng waved his hand slightly and said, besides, not all fish are so easy to catch. Are you right, Kajiki Jun? That's right, you're right. Kajiki Yuta didn't change his attitude because of Li Youfeng. He took a hard bite of the grilled fish in his hand and continued, but for an excellent fisherman to catch the strongest and fattest fish, he needs to take the initiative, so this time I also plan to take the initiative.